as bait.
Russell, who's 25, had claimed she was abducted after stopping to check on a toddler she saw walking along the interstate. Her attorney says there was no child and that she acted alone. Russell is free on bond after turning herself in to face the charges. President Biden pointing to cooling inflation as more evidence of his economic success.
We now know a big part of that reason for inflation was the pandemic, the war in Ukraine, broken supply chains, and excess profits.
During a speech in Maine rejecting Republican criticism that his agenda is to blame. Former President Trump tells a streaming radio show he won't stop running for president even if he's convicted of any of the charges against him.
The former president is already federally indicted for allegedly mishandling classified documents in a case where prosecutors just this week added another defendant and additional counts. He's also indicted in New York State on charges of falsifying records connected to a payment made to adult entertainer Stormy Daniels. The former president says federal prosecutors are investigating him for crimes related to the January 6th Capitol riot.
Fox's Evan Brown. Trump denies wrongdoing and says it's all interference in the 2024 election. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
It's hot again. 85 degrees, cloudy in downtown Indianapolis. Heat index in the triple digits right now. All clear on the radar. Low temps down to 74 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:02. You're dealing with more humidity today from storms this morning. Ryan Hedrick reports.
Temperatures may drop a bit today after severe storms passed through central Indiana, but it's still going to be humid.
Now, the humidity levels might actually be worsened by the storms coming through. While we may not get quite as hot, and by that I mean maybe instead of mid-90s, we're a couple of degrees cooler than that, the humidity is still going to be quite high.
As a result, forecaster Mike Ryan of the National Weather Service says the heat indices will rise above 105 degrees today. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A delayed opening for the state fair today because of those storms in the morning. Gates open about 2 hours later than originally planned. Indiana's housing laws are outdated and apartment companies need to be held accountable. That's the word from your Attorney General. Donnie Burgess reports.
Backed up maintenance, repairs, and negligent apartment companies. That's the fuel to Attorney General Todd Rokita's fire. He's suing what he calls bad apartment owners that are stepping on the necks of Hoosiers.
Our office is getting more and more involved using different tools that haven't been really used before, whether it's deceptive consumer sales practices, whether it's Home Loan Practices Act.
Rokita's office is currently suing Willowbrook Apartments and their out-of-state owners, BezTech Management. Rokita tells Wish TV he wants housing law changes during the next legislative session. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
David Peck was 2 years old when doctors at Indiana University Health performed transplant surgery on him. Today, he returned there as the first ever Hoosier to receive an intestine transplant.
David is one of our greatest success stories. You know, he originally presented to St. Vincent's Hospital and went straight to the operating room and had to have his intestine removed. Our intestine program was just in the process of achieving approval.
Dr. Jonathan Friedel was part of the team that worked on Peck. IU Health has now performed 300 intestine transplants in the last 2 decades. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:04.
Have you saved enough? Do you have a plan for Social Security and taxes in retirement? Hey, Casey Weed of Howard Bailey Financial, where our mission is to help you gain clarity and purpose and elevate meaning in your life through personal and practical financial strategies. That's why we want to give you our Retire with Purpose toolkit at no cost. In it, you'll find valuable information on minimizing taxes, maximizing Social Security, and building a retirement income you can't outlive. Plus, you'll receive a copy of my book, Job Optional. To get your complimentary toolkit, call or text the keyword INFO 42 to 866-482-9559. That's INFO 42 to 866-482-9559.
Howard Bailey Financial is the official wealth management partner of Notre Dame Athletics. Notre Dame Athletics was compensated for this endorsement and is not a current client of Howard Bailey. For more information, please visit howardbailey.com/ND disclosure. Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
With traffic on the 5s at 3:05, what's going on, Matt Bear?
Not a lot on the south side. I'm happy to tell you, Harrison, with the reopening of westbound 465 from 65 to 70, 65 northbound looks good. Westbound looks good right now. We do have some slowdowns out there, like inbound 69 from 96th Street down to 82nd, and inbound 65 slows around west. Traffic sponsored by America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses. Look sharp, shop smart. Visit America's Best for a comprehensive eye exam plus 2 pairs of glasses starting at just $79.95. Book an exam at americasbest.com. That's americasbest.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Today will likely be our hottest and humidest day of the year. As we move on into the evening hours, we could even see a few storms form in the forecast, likely to be severe in the northern half of the state. Be cautious as you move into tonight. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Drew Narsutis for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox on the Level on the Go and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
So let's rock it!
Oh, no, Hammer. New charges against the big, mean orange man, Donald Trump, and a couple of other guys that work at Mar-a-Lago, some associates. This is all has to do with the classified documents case, right? At Mar-a-Lago. So, another day, another round of some major league, high-profile legal stuff.
Crime, punishment, judges, legal stuff. 3 is the magic number. President Trump has been charged with 3 more counts in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents, including willful retention of national defense information and corruptly destroying or concealing records. Trump's now being accused basically of demanding a staffer at Mar-a-Lago to delete camera footage to obstruct the investigation.
Yeah, and that person said he didn't even know how to do that, wouldn't even be allowed to do that. And so they're bringing this other guy in too that Tony was talking about earlier today, and I agree with him. This prosecutor's out of control, basically indicting one of the Trump Mar-a-Lago workers for moving around some of the classified documents
that were still locked in his office.
Yes,
not sitting in a garage next to a bitchin' Corvette, where the door was open all the time and pictures were taken and a known crackhead who lied on a gun form had access to. We're not going to do anything about that, but we've got to really crack down on this Mar-a-Lago investigation. Okay. Now, Jack Smith, the special counsel, following his initial 37 charges in the case that Trump requested the deletion of the security footage at Mar-a-Lago to prevent it from being provided to a grand jury. Additionally, prosecutors now allege that Donald Trump and these folks that were working at Mar-a-Lago, these 2 aides, conspired to keep classified White House docs and conceal them from the grand jury. So all of this stuff, all part of the Florida investigation.
Yeah, Trump reacting to this new indictment, or to this addition to the original indictment. I don't know what it is. He's calling it election interference and harassment. Here you have a sitting president actively trying to put his political opponent in jail. That is third world, like Venezuela type stuff. And it's all for basically these documents, process crimes. It's my mind is boggled by that. They tried doing it, and it is election interference. They did it in 2016 with the Russian collusion accusations, the Steele dossier, the spying on his campaign. They did it in 2020 with the media and the Hunter Biden laptop and the Russian disinformation, which we all know was a bunch of BS to begin with, and they're doing it again.
Meanwhile, again, if you're going to tell me you're going to pass out all these indictments and give all these charges to Donald Trump, but you're also going to do it to Joe Biden, all right, fine. Maybe we will work on getting rid of some corruption in Washington. But you've got a sitting president who on camera is basically admitting to a little quid pro quo with Ukraine, having that prosecutor fired. You've got all the bank records leading to a little bribery investigation with the big guy. You've got Hunter in hot water, and the company line went from we've never spoke about his business practices to we were never in business together. All of that's going on and nothing. But you're going to find a couple guys that work at Mar-a-Lago and go after Donald Trump even more. Okay.
Okay, whatever.
Meanwhile, other legal stuff, that no good, rotten little punk weasel, Sam Bankman-Fried.
Oh, I was going to say, you're going to have to be a little more specific.
The little cryptocurrency geek with the white man afro.
Yeah, the homely girlfriend.
Right.
Yeah.
He was also the second biggest donor to the Democrats. He is basically going to skate on the biggest, nastiest charges of this cryptocurrency scandal. Federal prosecutors pursuing the criminal case against cryptocurrency mogul Sam Bankman-Fried, the guy with the white man afro, I call it a whaffro, say that they're dropping a very key charge. That charge is that he violated campaign finance rules. So the Democrat Party's second largest donor behind George Soros had his campaign finance charges dropped by the Biden Department of Justice. So for those of you scoring at home, if you got your notebook out like you're going to a baseball game, Joe Biden's Justice Department dropped campaign finance charges against their second biggest donor. At the same time, they charged Donald Trump with more offenses. This whole thing stinks.
Yeah, I think he's still going to do a bunch of time in jail, but what it really does.
That was the big one.
That was the big one, but he's of no further use to the Democrats anymore, so they're going to let him rot in jail for whatever charges are left. And it really, what it does is it takes, you mentioned he was the second biggest donor to the Democrats. Well, that takes that issue off the table for in a sort of courtroom discussion, whatever sort of testimony SBF might have, put forth in court that would, embarrass or humiliate other Democrats. It's gone now, and they're off the hook.
And where's the investigation into following the money from his cryptocurrency company, which was basically just a Ponzi scheme, money laundering scheme, because it went to Ukraine? And then that cryptocurrency that was sent to Ukraine ended up back in the United States. Sam Bankman-Fried admitted on CNN International before he was arrested, before this whole shakedown happened, that his company, FTX, was basically a crypto laundromat for the Ukrainian government.
But I think that at its core, we've seen millions of dollars go through the systems we've given. I think something close to $1 million ourselves as well to support humanitarian aid and growth in Ukraine. And I think when you think about what it would take to get funds both to the government there, where we do have a relationship with the Ukrainian government for raising capital for them using cryptocurrencies that runs through FTX. Whether it's getting money to the government or whether it's getting money to individuals there in need.
So basically, Joe Biden gives your taxpayer money to Ukraine. Ukraine washes that money through FTX, the cryptocurrency company, and then FTX's CEO, Wafro McGee there, donates millions of dollars to the Democrats. The money goes in a circle and it comes back.
When you say millions of dollars, let's not sell it short. We're talking $90 million in campaign contributions to like 300 different political candidates or, super PACs, political action committees that are off the hook now.
Right.
And they don't, very little of those people gave the money back, by the way.
And I know Comer and Jordan and the Good Time Party boys at the Oversight Committee, they got their hands full right now with Hunter Biden and the money laundering and where's it coming from? Is it China? Is it Ukraine? Is it somewhere else?
China!
But you also have to follow the money with this crypto scandal. Somebody needs to figure out if that money went to Ukraine and then was ultimately sent back to the United States, because that is a scandal. And again, the Bidens are skating on all of it.
That would be the first time I could think of that money is actually exported from Ukraine to the United States. It's usually the other way around.
Right. The fair officially opened. They had to dodge some weather issues earlier today, but
crazy this morning. Came out of nowhere.
Indiana State Fair is open. Colts training camp is open. There's only one problem.
It's so damn hot. Milk was a bad choice.
Heat advisory is in effect. Nigel, remember days like today when it's January, when we're talking about frozen pipes at your house and wind chill factors. Remember days like today, and it feels like we've come such a long way from the days of when Joe Biden's COVID advisors were telling us to basically get ready for that long, cold winter of death.
For the unvaccinated, you're looking at a winter of severe illness and death.
I believe that was on the Christmas card, wasn't it?
And the hospitals you may soon overwhelm.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Hospitals were never overwhelmed, and season's greetings from the Bidens. P.S. Get ready for a winter of death. All right, Matt Baer, what's up?
All right, fellas, looking at southbound 6570, that is now stop-and-go traffic. It's from the north split down to Michigan Street. And on the southeast side, southbound 465 slows from 74 to Arlington Avenue, but that is it. We are good to go through 65 all the way over to 70 because that interstate is now open. Traffic sponsored by Comcast Business. Start saving with Comcast Business Mobile, all on the most reliable 5G network. Most reliable based on Root Metrics U.S. report. Results vary, not an endorsement. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Matt, you want to come in here and hang out with us for a little bit?
I'd love to.
Get your butt in here. We were playing that soundbite of Sam Bankman-Fried earlier. Somebody on the YouTube chat, who is this lady? Right now, we are looking at 89 degrees at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. Heat index over 100. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust, like Family Heating and Air Conditioning? Find that American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
We buy any car. Why sell your car at WeBuyAnyCar.com? Because when you trade in, you're dealing with a dealer. And sure, they're interested in a good deal. For them, not for you. Come to WeBuyAnyCar.com instead. All we do is buy cars. You get in, get out, and get paid at a fair price. So don't take chances with a trade-in. Go to WeBuyAnyCar.com for a free online valuation.
Find out how much your car's worth at WeBuyAnyCar.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Now through Monday, save up to 50% plus extra discounts for cash, plus we pay your sales tax during the Made in the USA sale. Everything from Indiana-made Smith Brothers, Lazy Boy, patio furniture by Berlin Gardens and Pollywood, and save up to $500 on mattresses, including Tempur-Pedic. Now through Monday, save big only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus with free delivery.
You've undoubtedly heard of the calm before the storm. Well, Michaelis is the calm after the storm. More than 3 decades of restoring damage from wind, rain, and hail. They've got your back, not to mention your front, side, and roof. It's why home and business owners beat a path to Michaelis' door, because it's always answered around the clock with welcome arms. Your port in the storm. From site security and tarping services to complete restoration work, they can handle anything Mother Nature throws your way. Seasoned and trustworthy pros who are never deterred by a little wind and rain, or a mother load of it for that matter. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
4 races, 3 days.
The stars of NASCAR and IndyCar return for Brickyard Weekend at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Friday, August 11th, the next generation of Indy Next by Firestone takes to the road course.
Saturday features the NTT IndyCar Series Gallagher Grand Prix, followed by the NASCAR Xfinity Series Pennzoil 150 presented by Advance Auto Parts.
Then Sunday the 13th, the NASCAR Cup Series takes on the Verizon 200 at the Brickyard.
Power, speed, precision.
And family friendly. Kids under 15 get in free.
Tickets at ims.com.
The Indiana State Fair is back, and so is American Dairy Association Indiana's famous and fabulous State Fair Dairy Bar. From July 28th through August 20th, celebrate your State Fair visit with this year's featured treats, the Italian Melt Grilled Cheese, and the return of our biggest selling shake ever, the Mint Cookie Milkshake, a chocolatey delight topped with crumbled Girl Scout Thin Mint cookies. While at the fair, be sure to see the giant cheese sculpture inside the Ag Hort building. Our carvers will create a salute to our state's storied basketball heritage out of over 1,000 pounds of Pace Dairy cheese. The Dairy Bar, the giant cheese sculpture, State Fair Traditions, July 28th through August 20th. See you there.
Brought to you by American Dairy Association Indiana, your Hoosier Dairy Farm families. Find out more at wintersdrinkmilk.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's Lab Grown or Mined Diamond Store.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer is here, also with us live in studio, as opposed to his little hole in the wall there in the WIBC newsroom.
Mold infested.
Matt Baer, WIBC traffic guy, joins us. Matt, how are you?
It's I'm outstanding, fellas. Good to see everybody.
Here come
today.
the YouTube followers.
Right.
Anytime we get the camera on Matt Baer, it's like when Donald Trump's involved in politics. Eyeballs go to the screen. CNN had their best ratings ever when Donald Trump was doing things. When he left, when he got beat by Biden, how many people have they fired since then? That's the Matt Baer effect. When Matt Baer is on this show, eyeballs come to this program.
I'm short a little chest right now.
465 westbound.
Right.
Open?
Yes, it is. It is open, and that happened last weekend. And I've just noticed the traffic this afternoon. I was talking to John Herrick, our news director, a minute ago. I mean, this is great right now. I mean, I'm thinking about Beech Grove and how everybody was backed up to the moon for like a month since July 7th while this interstate was closed. But everything is light right now. But I started talking about this on Monday a little bit, fellas. Have you been through this area that was closed? It's westbound 465 from 65 to 70 on the south side. Have you been through since they've reopened?
Yeah, I was on my way to Columbus last Saturday. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did it feel safer to you?
No, I mean, it was still full of construction, and there was no place to pull over if you had a car problem. I mean, there was no shoulder.
So if you get a flat tire, you blow out, you're screwed.
And the people behind you are screwed because there's only a few lanes.
I was mystified when I looked at the camera and saw the configuration on this. And I know we have to do what we have to do with I-69 construction, but the fact that there are still concrete barriers on this shoulder. I mean, I like driving these construction zones. I like to have the firsthand experience. It's a great joy to be able to do my job. I'm not going into this one. Not with my car. My car is small. And I will be a death trap going through there. I just really feel. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic.
Incredibly dangerous if you get a flat tire or something during that stretch. What do? Don't get out of your car.
No, you
can't change a tire.
I'm so glad you said that, Nigel. That is the first thing you do is nothing. You stay inside your car. You don't get out on the interstate. I see that so many times when people crash, and it's a natural reaction. I mean, I would be scared. I would be full of emotion and everything. I'd want to get out of the car. I'd probably make the same mistake, but that's the most dangerous thing you can do.
That's why we have AAA memberships.
Yes.
So I don't have to do that kind of work.
Ride that rim as far as you can take it, and then call someone or call AAA.
I think that's great advice. Yeah, absolutely.
I know I probably upset a lot of my friends that work in road construction, but I think it bears repeating. If you're going to do the construction, right? If you're going to close the roads and do the things and all of that, do it right. Because whatever they did on the west side from that Man Road area on your way back to downtown Indianapolis, it's a mess. Like the lanes are all crooked and like people who aren't paying attention, because there's always somebody that's an idiot on their phone or whatever, if they're not paying attention, you're going to swerve into somebody else's lane. It's such a cluster, you know what.
Yeah, and that's, another conversation I'd love to have someday is nobody's paying attention right now. My 5 minutes in from Mass Ave to the Circle, it was a little bit atrocious, but that's the thing. I'm not asking for even smooth traffic going through there. It's just, you just want everybody to be safe. And that's when you're coming with no shoulder on a major interstate and there's no place to go. I just don't know how. We've had a lot of crashes there before the construction actually happened. It'll be interesting to see what happens after. It really will.
All right, let's have some real talk here, because for those who don't know, Matt Bear is a big Indianapolis Colts fan.
Oh, yeah.
You are a Colts guy. You are a horseshoe dude. Which team are you on? Team Irsay or Team Jonathan Taylor? Because there's a little feud going on right now, a little contract dispute. Irsay against running back Jonathan Taylor. Whose camp are you in?
I love Jim Irsay. I am so blessed. I think we're so blessed to have Jim Irsay as an owner. I really do. I know he's goofy sometimes. He says weird things, but I absolutely love the man. He wants to win, and I believe that. Pay Jonathan Taylor. Pay him now. Just be done with it.
Yeah, especially since you have a quarterback that has maybe questionable throwing skills at this point. As a rookie,
Right.
you know?
A young rookie quarterback, and the scouting report is can't throw.
We're going to be running the wishbone. How many running backs can we get on the field? Just like Newt Rockne, Notre Dame. That's what we're doing.
So you're in the camp of Jonathan Taylor here.
Listen, I get the
A case could
arguments.
be made for Irsay, because teams that pay running backs big money never really win. Like, you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, the Philadelphia Eagles. Can you name their running backs right now? No, but they have their triggermen. They've got good quarterbacks.
Yeah, and my value with a running back right now is you talk about Jonathan Taylor. He is your home run hitter for the Colts offense. That's cool. I'm glad we have that. He's the only one. Nevertheless, I want my running back to be able to pass block, especially when you have a rookie quarterback. That's really all I care about. Maybe 4 yards and 4 yards and some dust every now and then. That's fine too. But
Who is
I want to block.
is Jonathan Taylor the face of the franchise? At this point, would you?
Man, I think you almost have to make him the face of the franchise. Darius Leonard, probably
I
number
was gonna say
2.
Leonard, maybe. I don't know.
Quentin
But
Nelson, I don't know.
Yeah, boy. I feel like those construction workers at the beginning of the Major League movie looking at the roster. These guys don't look too freaking good.
They're still.
I am fired up for the season, though.
Yeah, I am too, man. I love football season. College football, pro football, man. I'm here for it. Before we let you go, Nigel and I were talking in the back. My side of town didn't get hit too bad with that round of storms that came through today. You were telling me it rained hard and long at your neck of the woods.
I mean, it just came down in droves out of nowhere. The poor guys, I'm getting a new porch put in from Indy Decorative Concrete, and those guys were out and getting soaked out there, tearing out my front porch and sidewalk, and they finally had to go back into their dump trucks and wait it out, man. It's just, forever.
That creates some problems today?
I've seen so many creepy scenes and so many creepy skies. Like Ghostbusters 2, it looked like one time. Just coming across Monument Circle. And today it just looked like, it was weird how it just came in all of a sudden out from the west. It looked like, I described it as a creepy smile. Like a dirty smile, and I don't even know what that means.
Because you were on air with Tony when all that was going down.
Yeah, it was. It just came in out of nowhere. Tony was getting hail up in Carmel. We were getting bad weather here downtown. It just comes out of nowhere during the summer. We're in a volatile weather pattern right now. It's just tough.
You are a volatile man. Where can people follow you on Twitter?
It's at Matt in Traffic. I really enjoy the conversation, if I may say so. I just love the people that talk to us there, and it's never changed. I'm blessed to be here, and
right on.
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for everybody listening to you guys, so thank you.
Matt Bear, thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Hey, it's Jesse Kelly. When a restaurant closes, my reaction is, that sucks. They had good steak. When regional banks close, or 3 of them close overnight, it freaks me out. This is why I have my own personal gold reserve. It's part of my personal protection plan. Call my friends at Oxford Gold Group. Call 833-404-GOLD. 833-404-GOLD. That's 833-404-GOLD.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-646-7049 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-646-7049. That's 800-646-7049. What do you have to lose? Call 800-646-7049. Again, 800-646-7049.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
More smoke from the fires to the north, 93 degrees, but it feels like 102, all clear of the radar, low of 74 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:30. It's happening again. Wildfires in Canada are impacting Indiana's air quality.
It's creating some minimized ozone levels, and we probably won't see complete improvement in that until we get into the weekend.
Mike Ryan with the National Weather Service. It's hot and humid, too, thanks to storms this morning. Indiana's under a heat advisory until midnight. President Biden is facing some pressure to declare a climate emergency from the heat. Fox's Jared Halpern reports.
While resisting calls to declare a climate emergency, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says President Biden is taking unprecedented action to address climate change.
The president has been very clear about what climate change is doing, that we're in a climate crisis.
And she points to investments in clean energy included in the Inflation Reduction Act and executive orders to speed up climate resiliency.
This president has been outspoken, but not just outspoken. He's actually put ambitious policies forward.
Declaring a national emergency would unlock additional executive powers for the president during a crisis. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Former President Trump is facing more charges in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. Special counsel Jack Smith filed a new indictment Thursday claiming Trump requested security footage at his Florida home be deleted. The former president was given a charge of willful retention of national defense information and 2 more obstruction counts. A plane that left Indiana crashed in Illinois Thursday. Drew Meyer of Evansville was the pilot of a plane that took off around 10 in the morning and was found in a field outside of an airport in DeKalb County in northern Illinois. Bennett Hatfield, who's from Whitestown, was a passenger. Both are seriously hurt. The FAA and National Transportation Safety Board are investigating. The average price you're paying for a gallon of gas in Indiana today, $3.70, says GasBuddy.com. Traffic and weather's next. Your time is 3:32.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-339-3838. 800-339-3838. That's 800-339-3838.
With traffic at 3:33, here's Matt Baer.
All right, Harrison, looking at inbound 70, that is now a slow after rural into the north. Split delay continues down to Ohio. Westbound 465, slow off 74 to Arlington Avenue. Then it is wide open on the westbound side through 65 over to Man Road. Eastbound not so lucky, now stopped before Man Road past White River. I'm hearing that we do have a stall in the right lane. All right, traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's Design Centers at 146th Street and River Road or on North Shadeland. Online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Today will likely be our hottest and humidest day of the year. As we move on into the evening hours, we could even see a few storms form in the forecast, likely to be severe in the northern half of the state. Be cautious as you move into tonight. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Drew Narsutis for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Indiana Foundation Service. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at indianafoundation.com.
Yeah. What up? This is Dr. Dre. The party's going on. Thank God it's Friday.
The Hammer and Nigel Show.
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there with a special guest on the DriveHubler.com hotline.
It's been a week. It's been a wild week, a lot of different stories, and we always like to have Tommy Pigott, the Rapid Response Director of the RNC, join us to kind of give us a look back at the week that was. Tommy, let's start with this sweetheart plea deal of Hunter Biden's falling apart. There was a lot of things going on here. We may or may not have had prank phone calls. We may or may not have had a ticked off judge. Tell me your thoughts.
Well, my first thought is that it's just absurd. I mean, this totally reinforces the credibility of the IRS whistleblowers, because it seems to me that this was either rushed or not thought through. I mean, in what scenario does this happen? I mean, CNN was talking about how rare it is that a plea deal would collapse like this in court. And so, like I said, I think this reinforces the need to really take what the IRS whistleblowers are saying credibly, that their allegations of political interference and that there was blocking, because this whole seems rushed and at the very least not well thought out, and that should be incredibly concerning when we're dealing with extremely serious allegations like the ones that Hunter and his family face.
I mean, I just thought it was funny. Like, the judge, I have a feeling in this case, does not like to be messed with. And they walked in there, and there was that part about, does Hunter have immunity from future charges? He doesn't automatically just get blanket immunity just because he's pleading guilty to tax fraud and gun charges. Like, what was that?
Yeah, I mean, it also shows the arrogance of Hunter's team, the arrogance of what I assume is Hunter, who probably approves of this legal strategy. I mean, this is a man who, by his own admission, had almost no qualifications to serve on any of the boards he was serving on. It really is incredibly concerning. It also shows that they have a little bit of a worry that there's other charges that might be coming down the pipeline here, I think.
The FARA charge
actually happened. Yeah, I mean, but if there was equal justice under the law, they probably should be concerned about that. I mean, there's been some allegations that there is this two-tier system of justice based off of the whistleblowers. That's also what's interesting about this, is that this seemed like it was destined to be completed. This seemed like this plea agreement was destined to be approved until those IRS whistleblowers came forward and really sounded some serious allegations, really groundbreaking political interference, if those allegations are true. It kind of reinforced that this plea agreement was not well thought out. This plea agreement was not done thoroughly, and I think that there needs to be a kind of a sense of going back to the drawing board, making sure that Hunter Biden is fully investigated, and making sure we listen to what the IRS whistleblowers are saying.
And not only that, big picture here, and we always talk about this on our show, Hammer, it's really not about Hunter Biden. The big picture is it's about the big guy. I mean, the judge asked Hunter if he took money from the Chinese. He said yes. We're giving hundreds of millions. He took money from Ukraine, and now we're giving billions of dollars to Ukraine. It just seems like, is it too far of a conspiracy theory for me? Put on the tinfoil hat. It just seems like there's a lot of potential money laundering going on with this family.
Well, I don't think you need a tinfoil hat to say Hunter Biden was making millions of dollars off of countries where his father was actively engaged in policy.
Yes.
I mean, that's a fact. That's been proven by the bank records. That's been shown by the House Oversight Committee. I mean, Ukraine itself, Biden was, of his own bragging, the point person under the Obama administration during that time when Hunter was trying to make a ton of money out of Ukraine. So you have example after example of areas where Biden is publicly a point person on policy, but Hunter goes and then collects hundreds of thousands, if not millions and millions of dollars. $8.3 million over a short period of time. And then on top of that, the way that Hunter was getting money is it's literally like a mafia family. You have diamonds and Porsches that are reportedly being given to Hunter Biden. It's not even something that you can make up in a crime fiction novel. I don't think any reasonable person could look at this, look at all the millions of dollars that Hunter was raking in, and assume that everyone that was giving him all this money was getting nothing in return except for an extremely underqualified point person to have on their board for the purpose of putting on their website. I don't think that's why anyone was giving Hunter millions of dollars.
Tommy Pigott is the Rapid Response Director for the RNC, joining us here on the Hammer and Nigel show. Tommy, what would you say to somebody that, comes up to you or maybe sends you a message on social media that says, Donald Trump's the one facing all these charges. Donald Trump's got all the indictments and a couple more charges came out recently. Nothing has happened with the Bidens yet. Why don't you guys focus on what's real and what's not reality? Do you get that kind of stuff a lot?
I see that from the left a lot. I think it's kind of a very odd and honestly pathetic whataboutism. I mean, fundamentally, Joe Biden is president of the United States right now. He is occupying the Oval Office, and we're having serious allegations of a political pay-for-play scandal, of influence peddling, of millions of dollars potentially going to his family, bank records indicating this, and also a huge degree of evidence that it's indicating that Joe Biden not only knew about all this, but was involved. I mean, these are incredibly serious allegations, and I think that anyone who wants to distract from that to talk about Donald Trump only really brings up two issues. One, that they seemingly don't care about potential corruption in the White House, or else they'd care about Joe Biden, who is in the White House right now. And two, they seemingly don't care about the two-tier system of justice, given the fact that there's a huge amount of evidence that shows that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden are involved in some sort of influence peddling scheme. That's what the evidence indicates, or at the very least, we should have a huge investigation of that, and every single American should be demanding answers on that front. So any sort of Democrat that is deciding to completely ignore the evidence right in front of their own eyes, where there should be outrage and demands for accountability, shows that they're not credible on this issue, shows that they're actually, all their calls for transparency and accountability are completely empty, and shows that they care more about power and defending Joe Biden than actually delivering answers for the American people.
Tommy, you bring up the words transparency and accountability. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre provided none of that this past week. On the rare occasion she could actually answer a question without saying she didn't know, she didn't check, had no idea. It was a changing of words that caught my attention this week. So the story went from Joe Biden never even spoke with Hunter about some of his business dealings, and now it's been changed to they've never worked together. This has been a bad week for Karine Jean-Pierre, hasn't it been?
It has been. And what I found kind of ironic about her change that had never been in business, according to the Daily Mail, they shared a bank account. So, I don't know if that qualifies as never being in business or not. But, sharing a bank account, paying each other's bills, sharing an office, having keys to the same office. At a certain point, even that explanation doesn't really ring true when you look at the details here. But it's a really clear change in what they said. It's a clear change in their story. And it's interesting that the only people that haven't changed their story are the IRS whistleblowers. It seems like every single time Joe Biden tells a claim, especially about Hunter Biden, it's disproven within a matter of weeks or months. And I think that should show that he has zero credibility on this issue. And also the White House's insistence that they can't comment on Hunter Biden or anything involving the Biden's influence peddling is absurd, given that Biden has commented on it. Biden, as president of the United States, has said that his family has not made money from China, has said that Hunter has done nothing wrong, has said that he's proud of his son, has said that he defends his family, that his family has done absolutely nothing wrong. All of those things have been proven not true in terms of you have Hunter Biden, who was going to enter this plea agreement at the very least, admitting to doing something wrong. You have bank records and Hunter's own admission that he got money from China. So Biden himself has commented on it. The idea that Karine Jean-Pierre, can't comment on the Hunter investigation flies in the face of they are commenting on it already. Americans just want the truth. So that's what she's really saying, is that you can't give the truth to the American people.
And what's so funny is yesterday she commented about the possibility that Joe Biden would pardon Hunter Biden. And she said, no, absolutely not. White House, there's no possibility that would happen. You know why she said that? Is because Hunter is going to wind up getting a slap on the wrist, and there would be no need for a pardon. It's a little disingenuous to say, no, this is a separate, he's a private citizen, and he won't get pardoned. Well, that's because he's going to get a slap on the wrist.
We know how this is going to end, right?
Right.
I think they're very confident of that happening. And I think that also, again, raises questions about what the IRS whistleblowers are saying here in terms of political interference. But I think we should save that clip, because I have a feeling if, the truth is exposed here even more, and we learn more and more, and every single day the evidence mounts, we might, be having a flip-flop on our hands. So I wouldn't necessarily say that her saying that actually speaks for the administration, because there's been so many times where she has said something that's either not true or has been quickly reversed within a matter of weeks. So we'll see what actually happens here. And I'm also, we'll see what happens when the House Oversight really continues to pursue this investigation, because they're really getting a lot of evidence here that raises a lot of red flags. And I think if I was the Bidens, I'd be really worried about what the House Oversight Committee is finding in terms of the bank records and the wire transfers and the money flows. I mean, it's really shocking stuff.
Yeah, but they can only do so much, man. They could hand over all the evidence in the world to Merrick Garland and the Department of Justice. And I think you and I both know, and Hammer probably the same, that I have no faith in Merrick Garland and the Department of Justice to prosecute.
And unfortunately, I think that lack of faith right now is probably the wise position, in the sense that Merrick Garland has shown he's more interested, or he allows his Justice Department to pursue people that oppose the administration's political viewpoints, as opposed to actually having an equal standard in the law. So the IRS whistleblowers coming forward was huge in raising a lot of these allegations and raising a lot of these red flags. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, we also need answers of Merrick Garland, and the Justice Department story has changed too, in terms of what power David Weiss had and when. And so we need to hear under oath from people that were involved in these decisions, because right now the IRS whistleblowers are the only ones with any credibility in this.
Tommy, we got about a minute left here. There were a couple big hearings in Washington this past week. One of them focused on the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, and another one that had some powerful, powerful moments was the transgender surgeries for minors hearing. A couple folks that were detransitioning speaking to lawmakers. Tell me what caught your interest.
Well, for the Afghanistan issue, for me, is really a profound one, in the sense that Biden, just a few weeks ago, when he was asked if he has any regrets, pounded the podium and said he was right. He said, quote, "I was right about Afghanistan," when he promised a safe withdrawal and it said there was chaos. He promised to defend and back American troops, and we had an attack on the airport that killed 13 service members. That chaos is something that I think is seared into the minds of every American who saw that. It really was a black moment in our nation's history. And I think for him to say I was right shows that he has no remorse, he has no empathy, and he has no interest in holding anyone accountable, especially himself. And I think that is so stereotypical, the perfect example of who Joe Biden is as president, a president who is willing to sacrifice what's right in order to defend himself and is too stubborn to admit his own mistakes. And that, for me, is such an important moment of remembering why Joe Biden has disqualified himself for re-election.
He is the Rapid Response Director for the RNC, Tommy Pigott. Check out some of his work at RNC Research. Tommy, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next Friday.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Rob, I have a question for you.
Yes, Casey.
Did you know that our national debt is now more than $32 trillion?
I do know that because, well, we talk about it every single day on our show.
Yeah, and you know what the government's going to do next? They're going to keep spending trillions of dollars they don't have. And then they're going to turn right around and make you pay for it by raising your taxes.
Hey, it's Kendall and Casey. You know, you don't have to just sit there and take it. Discover how you could dramatically reduce your taxes in retirement with a free tax reduction analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy right here in Indy. If you've saved at least $200,000, schedule your free analysis now by calling 317-932-9912.
If you take advantage of some simple tax planning strategies now, you could save a bundle in taxes when you retire. Call 317-932-9912. That's 317-932-9912.
Pigs do fly at the Indiana Pork Tents at the Indiana State Fair. Stop by any of the tent locations during the Indiana State Fair, July 28th through August 20th, to try this year's signature food, delicious barbecue pig wings. You can always check out the super popular pork burger, pulled pork sandwich, a new 12-ounce pork chop, and a boneless pork loin sandwich too. Look for the Indiana Pork Tents near Pioneer Village, West Pavilion, and the new Fall Creek Pavilion. Learn more at indianapork.com.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Indiana Foundation Service. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at indianafoundation.com.
If your wedding anniversary is approaching and you're looking for the kind of value, service, and quality that chain stores just can't provide, that means a visit to Barrington Jewels in Clearwater Crossing. You must see the truly one-of-a-kind creations at Barrington. You'll find exquisite and unique anniversary bands at great prices. Save time and effort and shop Barrington Jewels first. Consider upgrading her diamond, a truly special way to show your love. Don't wait. Get to Barrington Jewels today. And remember, you haven't seen a diamond until you've seen a Barrington diamond.
Hey, Ruthie, a bunch of us are heading out to Monroe Lake today. Any recos for a good drink out by the lake?
Sure. Total Wine & More is practically lakeside headquarters. My personal favorite is an easy-sipping tequila like this new Reposado.
Ooh, I bet that tequila pairs well with my new camping chair.
And you can relax even more knowing this price is the lowest in town.
Wow, that low price leaves other stores in your wake.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at your Total Wine & More in Indianapolis. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Pierce Jewelers wants you to know the diamond world has changed. You can choose mined or lab-grown diamonds. Unlike chain stores, Pierce Jewelers carries both. They can educate and help you save your hard-earned money. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
Make a fast break to the Indiana State Fair Free Stage Friday, August 4th for the Styx Concert and Beer Sample Friday with Hammer and Nigel, who will broadcast their show live. This year's fair celebrates the state that grew the game of basketball. Presented by Pacer Sports and Entertainment.
All right, Matt Bear, what's the latest?
Southside, Hammer eastbound 465 before Harding at the White River. It's a stall in the right lane, stopping us to Kentucky Avenue. Also a crash on the northeast side, westbound 465 at Allisonville Road. And right now, traffic is stopped back to I-69 at 4 miles per hour. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel Design Centers at 146th Street and River Road or on North Shadeland. Online at DrexelIN.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
88 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
You listen to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
According to a new survey, the salary Americans say they need to be happy is under $70,000. While most people say that making around $100,000 a year would make them happy, 10 states, Hammer, say that they would need less than $70,000 a year to be content. Those states include New Hampshire, Delaware, Vermont, Mississippi, Kansas, Rhode Island, North Dakota, Wyoming, Alabama, and Indiana.
All right. Kind of depends on what you have going on in your life, right? If everything's good and you feel like you can get by and life is fine and you like what you do, okay, you can get by. But if you're somebody that's like, I've got a family of 9 I've got to provide for, like, I have a hard time believing that if he didn't play football, Phillip Rivers would be happy making $70,000 or less.
I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there right now. I'm never going to be happy because I'm never going to be making more than $5 million a year. That's what it would take for me to be happy.
$5 million a year.
$5 million. Not 4.5 million, $5 million.
And so until then, you're just going to be a miserable, rotten bastard.
Damn right.
Allison, hit me with a little mood music, please.
We're coming to your city.
1 week from today, we will be out at the Indiana State Fair for Beer Sample Friday, Nige. And again, we're encouraging all of the folks on social media, whether that's the YouTube comment folks, whether that's our Twitter folks, Facebook, Instagram. Let's just have a big meetup at the Hammer and Nigel show. Let's all, interact, hang out, have some beers. And if you're somebody that's been blocked by us, now keep in mind, you've got to be a major habitual a-hole to be blocked by us. You could come out, your chance to say it to our face, at the Indiana State Fair next Friday. We are doing it live.
And Sticky Frog is asking, will Nigel promise to do some Trump impressions?
Live Trump impressions?
I don't have very good confidence in my Trump impression yet.
I think it's better than you think it is.
Okay. Well, thank you. Vic Ferrari's showing up.
Let me give the people what they want here. Can I hear your Trump impression of the former president saying hydroxychloroquine?
Hydroxychloroquine!
It's like a cartoon.
Dexamethasone. Remdesivir. Ivermectin. Listing off all the COVID cures, the therapies. I love it.
So maybe that'll take place. And again, YouTube crowd, we listen to you guys. There are some folks that said, hey, how about some fun facts for kids on the show tomorrow? So coming up a little bit later on, stick with us.
Oh, no.
We've got a very special summer heat edition of Fun Facts for Kids. Do not go anywhere. Speaking of summer heat, we have got an update for you. Tara Hastings, she is a meteorologist for Wish TV 8. She will join us next to talk about how friggin' hot it's really going to be.
Tony Katz here for Premier Arms in Brownsburg. This is your premier gun store. Premier Arms has the experience and know-how to help the new gun buyer and the most experienced marksman. They've been in business for over 20 years and have a friendly, knowledgeable staff that wants to help you, not talk down to you. Premier Arms in Brownsburg is family-friendly, so bring the kids. All ages are welcome. Everyone can find what they're looking for at Premier Arms in Brownsburg, 3754 South Green Street. Online at premierarms.com. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. premierarms.com.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust like Kirby Heating and Air Conditioning? Find that American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end. The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
There's no hiding from Bluebell Monster Cookie Dough Ice Cream. Creamy vanilla ice cream, peanut butter monster cookie dough, brown sugar, candy-coated chocolate, and dark chocolate flavored chunks. A taste so good, you'll need a bigger bowl.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell Ice Cream at select Kroger stores and Walgreens.
I can walk again. I can cross my legs again. I can wear heels again.
After years of living with chronic joint pain, Andrea Southard is now living a normal life, pain-free, thanks to natural biologic treatments at QC Kinetics.
We tried everything, and my husband had heard the commercial for QC Kinetics on the radio, and he told me to call him and check it out.
That phone call changed Andrea's life. QC Kinetics used powerful natural biologics to treat her aching joints. It's high-tech precision medicine that can restore and repair damaged joint tissue with no surgery and no drugs, providing lasting relief.
I felt like I was in my 20s again. I could tie my own shoes. Really the little things that you don't think about.
Pain in your hips, knees, back, shoulders? Get rid of the pain now. Call QC Kinetics.
463-235-7160. That's 463-235-7160. In Eagle Creek and Greenwood. 463-235-7160.
Okay, next time you're at the store, I dare you to not think about the unmistakable fresh, clean scent of Irish Spring. Yeah, you heard me. I want you to resist picturing a shower filled with those sensational Irish Spring suds. And if you succeed, well, you got what my gramps used to call resolutitude. Not a real word, but let's be honest, you're probably going to end up leaving with Irish Spring because of its irresistible scent and because you have zero resolutitude. Pick up Irish Spring today.
Your local news coming up in 2 minutes after Fox News Radio from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 4 o'clock.
It's a strength, not a liability. Elisa Brady, Fox News. That's President Biden's take on his economic agenda, taking it on the road again to a textile factory in Maine.
He boasted about how Bidenomics has increased GDP stronger than expected, lowered unemployment, and has led to more manufacturing jobs. The president also signed an executive order called Invent It Here, Make It Here, which incentivizes companies that invent products in America using federal money to then make those products in the U.S.
Fox's Brian Yanis in Auburn, Maine, rejecting Republican arguments. The president is that his policies fueled inflation. Wall Street ends the week with a rally. The Dow up 176 at the bell as the latest reading on inflation shows consumer prices rising at 3% in June compared to a year ago, slowest pace in 2 years. President Biden and Mexico's president have agreed to more cooperation in managing the southern border. Well, now, Mexico plans to expand refugee and labor options for migrants from Central America.
Mexico's government plans to establish an international area near its southern border to provide refugee and labor options for migrants currently in Mexico. A statement from White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says the U.S. is fully supporting the project and will commit to accepting refugee resettlement referrals from individuals from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela who are already in Mexico.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. The Alabama woman who made up a story about being kidnapped is now charged with 2 misdemeanor counts for false reporting.
We intend to fully prosecute this case and look forward to working with the Hoover Police Department moving forward.
Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall says his office doesn't see Carly Russell's hoax as a victimless crime. An Uber driver who was streaming a TV show when her self-driving car struck and killed a pedestrian, just pleading guilty to endangerment, sentenced to probation. The 2018 accident was the first fatal collision involving a fully autonomous car. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Not done with the heat yet. 86 degrees downtown. The heat index, 100. Your radar's clear, but there are some storm chances tonight. Low down to 74. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:02. It's another hot day in the Hoosier State, and it's humid, too.
Now, the humidity levels might actually be worsened by the storms coming through. While we may not get quite as hot, and by that I mean maybe instead of mid-90s, we're a couple of degrees cooler than that, the humidity is still going to be quite high.
Mike Ryan with the National Weather Service says heat indices will remain in the triple digits for a second day in a row. The heat advisory in Indiana ends at midnight. Your Attorney General has his eyes set on what he calls Indiana's outdated housing laws. Donnie Burgess reports.
State AG Todd Rokita is currently suing BezTac Management, which Rokita claims is operating in Indiana without a license and is letting Indy's Willowbrook apartments fall apart. Rokita wants changes at the state level, but wasn't successful last time.
You know, I'm hopeful. I really am. I'm not sure what the hesitancy is, except for some special interests out there that are probably worried about us looking into their practices. But nothing we do here is unwarranted.
Rokita on Wish TV. BezTac says it does have a license to operate in Indiana, and some maintenance repairs are finally being filled. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
22-year-old David Pack returned to Indiana University Health today, 20 years after becoming the state's first intestine transplant recipient.
They ended up starting it 2 weeks prior to when I got sick. So
everything just kind of fell perfectly into place, and I was able to get that life-saving transplant.
Peck is in regular contact with doctors who performed the surgery. IU Health performs about 500 transplants a year. The State Fair opened 2 hours late today because of bad weather, but you can now stop by the Dairy Bar for this year's signature shake.
It's a mint cookie milkshake topped with Girl Scout cookies, then mint crumbles.
Brooke Williams with the American Dairy Association of Indiana. You can pair that with their signature grilled cheese. It's an Italian melt, which is provolone and basil pesto tucked between 2 toasted slices of sourdough bread. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:04.
Mark Dietl is the only real estate agent I'd trust to sell my house, and apparently other people feel the same way, like Rich and Cindy in Greenwood. They said it was time to move into a place that could give them a little daily help, so they hired Mark Dietl, and they closed on their old house in a week with a cash offer. The whole process was easy and professional, and they came away with the money they needed for the next phase in life.
You got a lot of options in the real estate game, but Mark Dietl is the only real estate expert we trust and recommend with the sale of our homes here at the Hammer and Nigel Show. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Pick your move date, no long-term contracts, and you can cancel anytime. MarkDietl.com. That's DIETEL, MarkDietl.com, or call 755-4232. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
With traffic on the 5s at 4:05, here's Matt Baer.
All right, Harrison, here it is. Eastbound 70 in Conn County. You got it stopped at Mount Comfort Road, maybe a half mile behind that. We're working on it. Follow us at WIBC Traffic for the information. Looking at northbound 465, Lawrence stopped from Penn Pike up to Allisonville Road. There is a wreck on the westbound side of 465 at Allisonville Road, blocking the right lane. Looking at inbound 65, stopping on 21st Street to the north, split at eastbound 465 on the south side. Stop from Kentucky Avenue past Man Road because of a stall. Traffic sponsored by LASIK Plus. LASIK Plus is the patient's choice for LASIK. Get 20% off LASIK when treated in July. That can be over $900 off when treating both eyes, plus guaranteed financing. Visit mylasicoffer.com for details. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Wish TV meteorologist Tara Hastings joins Hammer and Nigel next. I'm Harrison Silcox on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
So let's rock it!
Hammer's here. My name is Nigel. We'll go to the drivehero.com hotline and bring on one of our favorites, meteorologist Tara Hastings from Wish TV. Tara, what the heck happened this morning? I live in Boone County and was having some work done on my house. The Indy Decorative Concrete came down there and demolished my porch and the sidewalk, but they all got soaked within about 5 minutes of starting the gig. That came out of nowhere today, didn't it?
Yeah, it did kind of hold together. We were watching it develop in eastern Illinois, and Marcus and I were like, and it keeps going. And I said, well, there's a severe thunderstorm warning now in one of the counties just west of Indiana. And we joke around. He says, sounds like a you problem, because then I do weather at 7 o'clock. And then I said, okay. And then we're watching it, and all of a sudden it's just holding together, and it just keeps going and going. And we're like, wow. So, yeah, we just had these showers and thunderstorms move through this morning. The atmosphere kind of got worked over. And because we had all that cloud cover and the rain through about almost, noon, 1 o'clock, really had an impact on the afternoon temperatures as well. So it was
good or bad effect?
Well, here's the thing. We were talking about 90-degree temperatures possible all week, right? Yeah. We technically in Indianapolis have not hit 90 this week. Other locations around the state have hit it. I mean, let's just get this out, though. I mean, it's been incredibly humid, and it feels just completely awful outside yesterday and today. But we haven't hit 90. Bloomington, I'm looking at some of the newest observations coming in. We're at 88 degrees right now in Indianapolis. I'm hoping that it'll refresh here. I've got a heat index of 97. So if we started out, we didn't have that rain early this morning, I mean, we'd be into the 90s across most locations. But we've got some of that rain that moved through, had an impact on soil moisture, right? If it was dry, and the ground was dry, we probably would have seen temperatures, climb into the 90s. I'm looking Bloomington 91. Where did that heat index go? With a heat index of 106. My husband works outside, and hopefully he's taking lots of breaks and maybe spending some more time indoors, working on the spreadsheets instead. So
when you say heat index, for somebody that's not a weather nerd like we are, or somebody that doesn't study this stuff like you do, what is heat index?
So what the feels like temperature is when you're outside, we talk about wind chill factor in the winter, right? So this is what it feels like here. We talk about dew points. I know it's a fancy term, and some people want you to talk about humidity, but I think it's important to talk about the dew point. And when you get the dew points, which is the measurement of how much moisture is in the atmosphere. When you have 50s, lower 60s, feels okay, right? 50s are great, feels very comfortable. But we've got dew points here in the 70s, which really belongs in Florida, right? Very tropical like air mass. That is up here right now. I'm looking at this dew point of 78 right now in Bloomington. And so it just feels so uncomfortable. So when we've got the dew points in the upper 70s and we've got the high temperatures in the lower 90s, we get this heat index into the 100 triple-digit range, and it just feels uncomfortable outside. And that's when, your body starts to work overtime, you sweat a lot, become exhausted, and you get that heat exhaustion as well.
Right.
So that's when it really gets kind of dangerous out there.
I'm somebody that when the weather changes dramatically, like today, it went from a crazy thunderstorm coming in and then the heat coming back. When that kind of stuff goes down, I'm one of those guys that gets a headache. What is the deal with that? Is that the pressure changing or what?
Well, I'll tell you this. My grandmother, I always called her like a human barometer, right? Because she had arthritis, and she'd be like, oh, man. And this is, of course, before I was a meteorologist, like as a little girl. They say it's not going to rain, but I can feel it in my bones, And she was right, usually.
I love I'm being compared to Tara's grandmother with arthritis.
No, but it's funny you mentioned that, though, because, too, Marcus and I were talking about earlier in the week. He's like, he had a headache. I had a headache, too.
I get them all the time,
I think sometimes it's just the pressure changes, and then, your body working overtime, too, and all this heat and humidity as well. So I firmly believe that the weather does have an impact on how we feel.
Tara's 5 minutes away from buying me a walker.
We should have put the tennis balls on the bottom.
Right.
Hey,
right.
I'm going to put you on the spot here, Tara, because I think the way it works is with you guys there in the morning is that you and Marcus Bailey kind of do a split shift. Like he'll do a couple hours worth of traffic, and then he'll switch to the weather, and you'll go to traffic. What do you like doing better, weather or traffic? What do you prefer?
I really prefer splitting it 50-50, to be honest with you.
Oh, that's
I really
a cop-out answer. No. Boo! Boo!
Because Marcus was talking when I was on maternity leave, and he had to do weather for 6 straight hours, and then I had to do weather for 6 straight hours too. And I'm like, wow, this is just really it's really repetitive, and
you change it up a little bit.
I do like to change up. Yeah, okay. We do. Yeah, we both like it, so which is good because that's the way it is.
Well, you're the best at what you do, Tara. Thank you.
You bet. Cheers, my friend, on a Beer Friday.
Yes.
You're going to have to come join us.
Yeah, we got a spot waiting for you whenever you're ready to join us in studio for a live version.
Can you guys hear this?
Yeah. There we go.
Wow.
I like it.
And that's only her 6th.
Tara, thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So, Nigel, I heard Rob say something earlier today, and it really got me thinking, and very rarely do I want to give any sort of credit to the representative of Brownsburg, Rob Kendall, but he's 100% right. You look at the current state of the United States Senate, it's a laughingstock. Look at some of the people in this thing. Look at their age. Look at their condition. These are supposed to be the most powerful politicians in the world. And you've got 90-year-old Dianne Feinstein having no idea what's going on, and her staff has to lean over and just tell her, just say aye during a vote.
Senator Feinstein. Say aye.
Pardon me?
Aye.
Yeah.
Just say
I would like to support a yes vote on this. It provides $823 billion. That's an increase of $26 billion for the Department of Defense, and it funds priorities submitted.
Just vote.
Just say aye, lady.
Yeah, just say aye.
Okay, just aye.
She's 90 years old. Holy God, that's embarrassing.
And this comes shortly after Cocaine Mitch McConnell, who's older than hell, freezing up in front of reporters.
Operation and a string of
Now, I'm not going to play the whole clip because he freezes up for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, and then one of his aides comes up and says, Mitch, do you have anything else to say to the press?
I mean, we're hearing reports that he also fell back on July 14th. He had a bad fall, banged up his head last year. And then he's not old, but he's certainly in no condition to make decisions for anybody else. Fetterman.
The 95, and now I'm standing next to the president again, next to a collapsed bridge here. And he is here to commit to work with the governor and the delegation to make sure that we get this fixed. This is a president that is committed to infrastructure. Yeah, and then on top of that, the dual kind of a law of the inflation.
These are the people in charge of 300 plus million Americans making decisions for them. Let that sink in. And 2 of those 3 sound bites that we just played happened in the last week. It's not like we're digging through the archives here. Everything we just played has happened this year. 2 of those things have happened this week. And if that's not bad enough, think about who the commander-in-chief is.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was in the foothills of the Himalayas with Xi Jinping.
But I might point out, when I went to Dearborn, driving that, was up there. I don't know, man.
Gosh.
I think the press thought I was crazy. I enjoyed it so much going up in your new EV factory and that Hummer.
Get ready, pal. You're going in for a problem. True international effort to pressure. True international effort to pressure. True international effort to pressure.
These are the people making decisions for us. Now, who's to blame? These geriatric losers or these people who have no business being in this position of power due to their health situation? Or the people that keep voting to send them in these positions?
Or the people that keep pressing them to campaign when they should be resting, like Fetterman's wife.
Unbelievable. All right, Matt Bear, what's going on?
Northeast side, we have trouble. Crash westbound 465 on the main part. 465 at Allisonville Road is blocking the right lane. Express lane unaffected, but that main part is backed up to Penn Pike right now for a delay time of 26 minutes. Also looking at the south side, eastbound 465 struggling. A little bit better now as that stall has cleared the White River, but still slow from Kentucky Avenue over to Harding Street. Eastbound 70 stop and go tips to Meridian, Illinois. Traffic sponsored by LASIK Vision Institute. TLC Laser Eye Centers is a doctor's choice for LASIK. Get 20% off LASIK when treated in August. That can be over $900 off when treating both eyes, plus guaranteed financing. Visit saveontlc.com for details. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
You heard Tara Hastings a little bit earlier. Not quite 90 degrees with the actual temperature. It's 89 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. But depending on where you're at in the WIBC listening area, your heat index is either around 100 or it's a little bit over.
What do you think she was drinking? She cracked open something while she was on
she sent me a text. It was a 4-day Ray blonde orange.
Okay.
Blood orange blonde.
Oh, I love the blood orange.
Blood orange.
Nice.
So she's not messing around. That wasn't some sound effect machine. She's cracking open a cool one. God bless her. Is This Anything? Next.
Cameron, I'm going to tell you something about Jay's Lobster and Fish Market there in the Garage Food Hall downtown in the Bottle Works District. I love their specialty lobster rolls, but I can't get enough of the lobster mac and cheese.
Have you had that lobster grilled cheese?
Oh, yeah, it's unbelievable. It's mouth-watering.
Also in the Bottle Works District, Garage Food Hall, Palavano Cubano. Biggest, best Cuban sandwich in Indy.
Yes.
It's the perfect destination if you love delicious food. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
We love spring showers, but not from leaky faucets, burst pipes, or flooded basements. If you're dealing with plumbing issues, call Justin Dorsey Plumbing. We're ready to spring into action. Call 317-648-2140 for 24/7 service and no after-hours fees. That's 317-648-2140. Don't cry about your plumbing problems. Call today, fix today is the Justin Dorsey Plumbing way.
Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. Income may be subject to state, local, or federal alternative minimum tax.
The stock market dropped by over
The Federal Reserve
raised
interest rates.
Let's face it, investing can feel pretty scary and overwhelming these days, especially if you're retired or close to retirement, which is why you should consider investing in municipal bonds from Hennian & Walsh. Municipal bonds can provide a source of federally tax-free retirement income, plus an investment in municipal bonds is an investment in America. Municipal bonds help finance major civil projects across the country, like the Golden Gate Bridge and Hoover Dam, as well as local roads, bridges, and schools. Call 1-800-761-9761 right now for our informative free bond guide and learn how you can earn tax-free retirement income while investing in America's future. Just dial 1-800-761-9761 for the free Hennian & Walsh bond guide. There's no cost and no obligation. 1-800-761-9761.
Hennian & Walsh Inc., member of FINRA and SIPC.
I love Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. They pretty much changed our lives with the Tempur-Pedic bed they sold us, and they delivered it for free, by the way. Spencer and Big Mike and Nick and everybody down there are simply the best. It's worth the trip down to Columbus. Lazy Boys, Indiana Made Smith Brothers Furniture, Berlin Gardens Outdoor Furniture, only the best with Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Owned and operated by the same family since 1927. Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus is a Hoosier institution. And with everybody else raising prices, Thompson Furniture and Mattress, they still have free delivery and setup if you live within 75 miles of their store in Columbus. They support what we do. Please take care of these guys. Thompson Furniture and Mattress. ThompsonFurniture.net. Stop by their store in Columbus. Be sure to tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
The Indiana State Fair is back, and so is American Dairy Association Indiana's famous and fabulous State Fair Dairy Bar. From July 28th through August 20th, we'll be serving up all the great dairy bar treats you've been craving, like our rich and creamy signature milkshakes, scrumptious grilled cheese sandwiches, thirst-quenching ice-cold milk, and more. This year's featured treats include the Italian Melt Grilled Cheese, a sensational melding of provolone with basil pesto on sourdough, plus the return of our biggest selling shake ever, the Mint Cookie Milkshake, a chocolatey delight topped with crumbled Girl Scout Thin Mint cookies. The Dairy Bar, a great Indiana State Fair tradition. We're on Main Street opposite the Indiana Farmers Coliseum, and we're open every day during the fair from 9 to 9. See you there.
Brought to you by American Dairy Association Indiana, your Hoosier dairy farm families. Find out more at wintersdrinkmilk.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's Diamond Engagement Ring Store.
Hammer and Nigel presents
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
Is this anything?
All right, let's rock and roll.
Hammer, how do we play? Is this anything?
I am going to run some stories by you. You will break down all of the information and give us all the verdict. Is the story anything or not? Is this anything? A Virginia woman received more than 100 Amazon packages that she never ordered including headlamps, glue guns, binoculars, and more.
Okay.
Here she is talking about dealing with the massive amount of packages.
It's a lot of packages. I didn't order them. A lot of people told me I was weird. You know, I would drive around with headlamps and glue guns in the car. I gave them to everybody I met. All my neighbors got glue guns or headlamps. I mean, I gave them to dog shelters, to veterinary clinics. I went to Burger King one day. I'm like, I have a gift for you.
So I'm assuming she didn't have to pay for any of this stuff. It just showed up randomly on a doorstep. 100 Amazon packages?
What am I going to do with 50 glue guns?
I know what this is. I think here's what this is. When you have, it's called a mass dump. I take them every morning. No, the mass dump of any sort of it's sort of a fraud, like a scam, where an overseas seller ships all of their products to a random address because it's easier and cheaper than correctly removing the product from an Amazon warehouse. So in other words, if an overseas seller is selling all cheap binoculars and glue guns and they either go out of business or it's not selling well or they go to a different retailer or whatever, it costs more for them to remove it from Amazon's inventory. So they'll just ship it to some random address and it's however many times cheaper, 100 times cheaper.
So somebody that didn't order any of this
and they
crap
get it all for free.
just gets it for free.
Yeah, exactly. They don't. I mean, it doesn't. Like some of these places, like my wife ordered something like a big table or a big giant fancy clock or something like that, and it looks like it costs a lot of money, right? And it did probably, but it didn't work. And so you would think, okay, well, we're gonna have to go through the routine of having to box it back up and take it to UPS and printing out. They're going to send us a label to print it out. And so my wife called them and they just sent us another one. They didn't ask if, she just said, hey, this thing's not working. It's cheaper for them just to send us another one than to mess with, returning a defective product and them dealing with it.
I want to be one of those destinations where they just drop stuff off.
Yeah, I don't know. How can you can sign up?
Right. Did I ever tell you the grandfather clock story? You mentioned clocks earlier, and it got me thinking. I was working at the casino in Shelbyville, and during the weekends, we would have these big, elaborate giveaways out on the casino floor, right? We'd decorate a stage, I'd DJ, we'd be on the microphone and kind of things. Well, there was one instance where we needed a big grandfather clock, right? It was kind of like throwing back the eras kind of thing.
Okay.
And I was tasked with finding decorations for grandfather clocks. So I go into Google on my officially issued casino computer, and I type in grandfather clocks. I forgot the L. I hit search. Lot of stuff came up.
There's no sort of firewall there at the casino that wouldn't, because I have a feeling we typed that in here at Radio 1, they wouldn't let you go to the...
Boy, I got a lot of stuff fast that I wasn't looking for.
Did you get an email from HR?
I had to quickly tell my boss what I was looking for, and then I had to go to IT and explain. And I don't think the IT people believed me.
All right. Okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Who looks for a grandfather clock? So it always brings back some sour memories.
That's incredible. That is incredible.
Is this anything? A recent report said clubs are struggling because Gen Z doesn't drink very much alcohol. This TikToker has an interesting take on both of these theories.
Actually, a lot of us are still drinking, just not at the club. Now, I can't speak for other cities, but in New York and the Bay Area, clubs are literally charging $20 for a tiny drink that tastes like gasoline, and that doesn't even include tip, because I'm going to tip. Ideally, I'd like to buy a drink about once an hour. So let's say I go out for an average of 3 hours. That's like $70 just to go out and drink, aka like a week of groceries. So at least for me and my friends, not that we're not drinking, it's that we're pre-gaming like nobody's business because we're economical women.
I'm going to have to just tune out the fact that she's talking like a typical TikTok, like we go out early for pre-gaming. It costs $20 when we drink in New York. I can't speak for other cities, but we used to do the same thing.
Right.
Me and my buddies started, we start on a typical Saturday in my 20s, start drinking at 3 on the golf course, and then not go out until 10 o'clock.
Right.
And
you played drinking games before you went out to do the drinking.
Of course. So this is nothing new. And I'm surprised. I actually agree with this person that talks like this.
I hate TikTok. God almighty, do I hate TikTok. It's the Hammer and Nigel show.
Have you noticed this summer is much drier than usual? These abnormally dry conditions will lead to drought. The lack of rainwater and reduced moisture in the soil can damage your home, specifically its foundation, due to the soil's expansion and shrinkage. Indiana Foundation Service experts are here to help. If you've noticed your home has cracked bricks, basement floor or concrete cracks, floor and wall gaps, bowed basement walls, or cracked chimneys, these problems will only get worse during a drought. That's why you need Indiana Foundation Service to come out and identify the problem and provide a foundation solution. Visit IndianaFoundation.com today to book your free inspection with a no-obligation quote included. That's IndianaFoundation.com. Indiana Foundation Service is ready to take care of you during wet season or dry season. There's a reason they're the trusted local experts.
Indiana Foundation Service, reliability from the ground up.
So as interest rates keep climbing, mortgage rates continue to climb, Window Nation is still keeping 0% interest for 2 years. Don't do anything if you're looking around for new windows. If you want to replace the drafty, cracked old windows in your house, go to windownation.com right now. And you can save thousands today with no money down, no payments, and no interest for 2 years. Plus, they'll give you 2 free windows with every 2 you buy.
No money down, no payments, no interest for 2 years. That's an awesome deal in itself, but that's on top of the existing deal where you get 2 windows for free with any 2 that you buy. There's no limit, and you can pick the style that you want. Call Window Nation today. 866-90-NATION. They will have operators and staff members standing by to answer all your questions. 866-90-NATION, or go to windownation.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Are you working way too hard for way too little? There's never been a better time to consider a career in IT. You could enjoy a recession-resistant career in a rewarding field with plenty of growth opportunities and often flexible work environments. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. You could start your new career in months, not years. Take classes online or on campus, and financial aid is available to qualified students, including the GI Bill. Now is the time. mycomputercareer.edu.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A drop in air quality, 87 degrees and sunny on the circle. The heat index is 100. All clear under radar, low of 74 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 431. Along with the heat is more smoke from Canadian wildfires.
It's creating some minimized ozone levels, and we probably won't see complete improvement in that until we get into the weekend.
Mike Ryan with the National Weather Service. The heat advisory in Indiana ends at midnight. A plane that left Indiana crashed in Illinois Thursday. Donnie Burgess reports.
The Cessna plane took off from Evansville around 10 o'clock in the morning. A few hours later, the plane was sitting in a green field just outside of an airport in northern Illinois. Drew Meyer of Evansville was the pilot. Bennett Hatfield of Whitestown was his passenger. Both men were seriously hurt. The FAA and National Transportation Safety Board are investigating. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
President Biden is in Maine talking about a plan to bring back American manufacturing jobs.
We used to be rated to have the #1 best infrastructure in the world. Now we're number 13.
The president issued an executive order which he hopes increases domestic manufacturing of new inventions. He also took credit for 800,000 new manufacturing jobs since he took office. Bad weather forced the Indianapolis Colts to move their training camp practice inside today. Kevin Bowen reports.
So unfortunately, the 6,500 sold-out practice crowd that was supposed to be watching was reduced to 750 people. Those that did get indoors, they saw Anthony Richardson receive all the starting work on Friday, which is different from Gardner Minshew receiving all of it on Wednesday. So those two expect to kind of flip-flop here with the starting unit early in camp. Night practice is coming on Saturday. That is also sold out. Off day on Friday before a busy week here at Grand Park for the Colts next week. Kevin Bowen, WIBC Mobile News.
And your stock report, the Dow finished up 176 points to 35,459. The Nasdaq up 266 to 14,316. And the S&P 500 up by 44 today to 4,582. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:33.
Here's Jiffy Lube owner Steve Sanner.
When my wife Jennifer and I opened the first of our 51 Indiana Jiffy Lubes back in 1985, oil changes were $19.99. They were fast and easy, and they were due every 3,000 miles. Now our product costs keep rising, oil changes are much more complicated, and they're only needed a couple times a year. But one thing that hasn't changed is Jiffy Lube's commitment to doing the job right. Our expert technicians must pass the most rigorous training program in the industry. We pay higher wages than our competition, and we are very active in our communities, supporting public art, honoring Hoosier volunteers, and now with our new No Ticket Let's Fix It program that allows police officers to solve problems instead of issuing tickets. At Jiffy Lube, we take a lot of pride in being the best in the business at what we do. You never need an appointment, and our service satisfies new car and extended warranties. We look forward to seeing you soon.
The new No Ticket Let's Fix It program from Indiana's favorite, Jiffy Lube.
The traffic at 4:34. What's going on, Matt Baer?
Harrison, on the south side, we're having a day on eastbound 465. We started moving to get a band road, and now we are not. Traffic stopped back to State Road 67, Kentucky. On the northwest side, southbound 465, crash west of 71st Street. A sedan just got smoked by a pickup truck. Two right lanes are blocked right now with traffic stopped back to west 79th Street. Northbound lanes also stop and go from 86th Street up to 865. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel Design Centers at 146th Street in River Road or on North Shadelet online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Today will likely be our hottest and humidest day of the year. As we move on into the evening hours, we could even see a few storms form in the forecast, likely to be severe in the northern half of the state. Be cautious as you move into tonight. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Drew Narsutis for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox on the Level, on the Go, and on WIBC.com.
The Hammer Nigel Show. Hello. My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer is over there. LeBron James' son, Bronny James, out of the hospital. If you remember, a scary moment. Collapsed on the basketball court. Went into cardiac arrests. It was it happened this past week. He's out of the hospital, though. They're doing okay.
LeBron put out a statement on Twitter. This is the first time anybody from the family has made a comment about the situation. Quote, I want to thank the countless people sending my family love and prayers. We feel you, and I'm so grateful. Everyone's doing great. We have our family together, safe and healthy, and we feel your love. We have more to say when we're ready, but I wanted to tell everybody how much we support, how much your support has meant to us. Hashtag James Gang.
I mean, as much crap as we give LeBron James, we got to, just thankful that his family's okay.
Right. I disagree with him politically.
Yeah.
I mean, I certainly don't want anything to happen to their health and, to their family. But I'm happy the kid's out. Don't get me wrong. That's the most important thing, right? That's paramount right there. But there are questions remaining. And number one, aside from health issues, I'm floored, Nige, how short of a shelf life this story had in the national news.
Really?
Now, I know there have been other things going on. The plea deal with Hunter Biden and Trump's got more charges and everything. But
UFO testimony.
Right.
Before Congress.
But, man, when Damar Hamlin of the Bills collapsed on that field, and, yes, that was Monday Night Football, national audience. Okay.
And I think his heart technically stopped bleeding or stopped beating. Technically he was dead there for a few seconds.
That was a story that lasted for a long time. You would think the son of arguably the most well-known athlete on the planet right now, LeBron James, who's in incredible shape, a Division I basketball player working out at USC, 18, 19 years old, just collapses on the court with cardiac arrest. That's not supposed to happen. I'm surprised that this story went away as quick as it did.
I think it's probably I think it's an uncommon occurrence. Who was the basketball player that all of a sudden, Reggie?
Well, there was Reggie Lewis that had it happen for the Celtics. There was the Stewart kid from Lawrence North.
Oh, that was so tragic. Ugh.
The Loyola Marymount basketball player a number of years ago, Hank Gathers, had a heart condition and collapsed during a game.
So it's rare, and I think the questions people have regarding the COVID vaccine and the fact that it's been known to cause myocarditis in particularly healthy young men.
Right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that running through your mind. Could that have been a factor? I have no idea.
Right. We don't know what his heart condition is. We don't know what his vax status is.
Right. But I doesn't think it makes you necessarily a bad person for wondering. And it seems like these types of events, even though they're rare, have been happening more often.
A lot. And maybe social media has brought this to our attention. Maybe we see these stories more, but man, it's crazy. And social media is a big part of this problem because there are so many blue checkmark people that get a platform that want to shame you for having questions about something. Not having an opinion, just questions about something. Because when I see healthy 18, 19-year-olds just collapsing at basketball practice, football practice, whatever the case may be, you should have questions.
But it's never going to change. It's always going to be that way. It was the same way for us when we questioned the efficacy of the COVID vaccine. You were shamed. You were called a science denier. You were deplatformed. And lo and behold, look what happened. It neither stopped people getting from getting COVID, and it didn't stop people from spreading COVID. And then all of a sudden, where did those shamers go?
Right. Where are all the people who said, I can't believe you don't want to be 6 feet apart? When anybody with common sense could say, this doesn't make any sense.
The whole 6 feet apart thing was so... They just made it up out of thin air.
Right.
Like somebody at the CDC said, nah, let's make it 10 feet. And somebody else said, no, we better make it 3 feet. And then finally somebody else said, let's compromise. We'll just say 6 feet. There was no scientific evidence whatsoever that number 6 feet ever. I mean, tons of stupid stuff, like the plexiglass at restaurants actually hindered filtration and circulation. Just those kinds of things were so unscientific. So, yeah, I do question science sometimes, and it's okay to do that.
If you're somebody that wore a mask alone in their car with the windows up, then maybe you should pump the brakes on criticizing someone when they wonder why are healthy 18, 19-year-olds collapsing on sports fields. All right, tell me what you think about this. So Jason Aldean, been in the headlines a lot lately. He's got this song out called Try That in a Small Town. It's basically a protest song about the protests and riots of 2020.
Right, and they show actual footage, news footage of rioters and people treating cops really badly and things like that.
And they had to put out a new version of that video with 6 seconds less than what they had before.
Yeah, what's that about?
They claimed it was a copyright issue because they had news clips and photos of the riots and somebody filed a copyright claim. Now, that's the argument from the Aldean camp. But Jason Aldean back on the road talking about this in front of crowds and also selling merch. They have Try That in a Small Town t-shirts, and on the front, it's a big middle finger that says, cancel this. So we often play this game with me, but I'm going to ask you, Nige, are you okay with this?
I'm okay with a cancel this middle finger Jason Aldean t-shirt. I don't think I'd ever wear one. And quite frankly, I've heard the song a couple times. It's okay. The controversy is really more with the music video. than it was the actual song, but it got people talking. It got him number 1 on iTunes.
It did.
And it's going to sell a lot of merch.
Right. And he knows what he's doing here.
Oh, sure.
If something is controversial, it's okay to maybe play both sides. He took 6 seconds out of his video. He's claiming it's copyright. I don't know if it is or not. But he's also selling T-shirts that say, cancel this with a middle finger. It's like Kyle Busch in NASCAR. At his merch store, they sell I love Kyle Busch T-shirts and also I hate Kyle Busch T-shirts.
I didn't know that. Are you serious?
Yeah. The I hate Kyle Busch T-shirts sell a lot more, but guess what? He makes all the money.
Well, I mean, it's even like our coworker upstairs, JMV. Doesn't he have a T-shirt that says JMV sucks?
Yes. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Good for him. We've got an update here. Let's do a little booze news.
Okay, let's do that.
You set him up and I'll knock him back, Lloyd. 1 by 1.
We are gonna read booze news, cause it's really fun.
Once it hits your lips, it's so good.
Nigel presents
Booze News, Booze News.
Yeah.
Time for Booze News.
So, Anheuser-Busch has announced a round of corporate layoffs.
Uh-oh.
Now, this obviously is a result of poor sales, the train wreck situation that is Bud Light right now. Roughly 350 corporate employees were let go. Now, if there's any silver lining to this, it's that the brewery workers, the warehouse staff, the drivers, the salespeople, they were not affected by this.
Okay, good.
Because there was a big concern that this whole Bud Light boycott was going to hurt the wrong people.
That was the promo campaign with trans guy, that dude that pretends to be a little girl, Dylan Mulvaney.
Right. Anheuser-Busch blows out 350 corporate staff members, and they say it's, in regards to sales, seeing a sharp drop this year over Bud Light losing its number 1 spot thanks to that ill-advised marketing campaign between Dylan Mulvaney and, at the time, their marketing head, Heide Schneid.
So do we think these layoffs, these corporate layoffs, are in any way, well, they've got to be related to the Mulvaney fiasco, right? But it's not, do you think it's punishment for these executives that allowed that to happen? Or is it just expense control by losing, when your top brand loses over 25% of its revenue and all the other brands are only down like 5 to 6%, you got to make some cuts somewhere.
Right.
So this maybe has to do with that fiasco, but it's not necessarily related to the decision-making that went into this promotional campaign.
Or maybe it's the lack of having a plan to dig themselves out of the hole.
Yeah.
Because there's been no light at the end of the tunnel so far for Bud Light. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Hey, Ruthie, I'm making my Indiana sweet corn casserole, so if you got a reco, I'm all ears.
Well, Total Wine has this amazing straight bourbon whiskey that's made with 58% corn, so no wonder it's a hit here in Indianapolis.
Perfect. I'll pop it in my cart.
Also, check it out. We have it for the lowest price in town.
Wow, that's a low price. Ruthie, you're the best in your field.
Aw, shucks. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at your Total Wine & More in Indianapolis. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
In a wreck, you need an attorney who knows how to fight and knows how to win. WeWin.com.
WeWin.com.
I'm attorney Darryl Isaacs. We'll fight day and night to get you the money you deserve.
WeWin.com. WeWin.com.
And with over $1 billion recovered for our clients, we know how to win.
WeWin.com.
If you're injured in a wreck, we're ready to fight for you.
Isaacs and Isaacs.
The winning team you know
and trust.
WeWin.com.
WeWin.com.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
There's no hiding from Bluebell Monster Cookie Dough Ice Cream.
Creamy vanilla ice cream, peanut butter monster cookie dough, brown sugar, candy-coated chocolate, and dark chocolate-flavored chunks. A taste so good, you'll need a bigger bowl.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at Walmart Supercenters and Walmart Neighborhood Markets.
That's Mike saying good morning. It's the best he can do right now. Yeah, not a cloud in the sky. What Mike could use is a fresh start. And Irish Spring Body Wash. The fresh scent of Irish Spring and those sensational Irish Spring suds are just the reset Mike needs. Now he's ready
To go to work.
It's Sunday. Irish Spring. When the spring hits you, you're ready. Pick up Irish Spring today.
Hey, it's Jesse Kelly. When a restaurant closes, my reaction is, that sucks. They had good steak. When regional banks close, or 3 of them close overnight, it freaks me out. This is why I have my own personal gold reserve. It's part of my personal protection plan. Call my friends at Oxford Gold Group. Call 833-404-GOLD. 833-404-GOLD. That's 833-404-GOLD.
Life is a collection of moments that last forever, so make them matter and make them count with that symbol of everlasting love. A diamond from Pierce Jewelers. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
The latest local news, commentary from Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, podcasts. Listen to the station live, whenever, wherever, online at WIBC.com.
Matt Bear has a look at the roads.
Bad state on the northwest side right now, Hammer. 2 crashes on southbound 465 about a mile apart. The first one you'll encounter is near 79th Street, and that's blocking 3 right lanes. After that crash, southbound 465 at West 71st Street, also blocking 3 right lanes, stopping traffic past West 79th Street almost to West 86th Street. Stay out of that. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's Design Centers at 146th Street and River Road on North Shadeland. Online at DrexelIN.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
88 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
The Hammer and Nigel Show. My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there.
Coming up just a little bit after 5 o'clock, Richard Essex. He's the investigative reporter for Wish TV. He was at that very long court appearance and sentencing for Kagan Klein yesterday. He is the guy that his name had been brought up in the Delphi investigation, although he was never charged with anything. He was the child porn guy, but he spoke to one of those young ladies the day before they went missing.
Right.
His sentencing for all of the child pornography was yesterday. Long day in court.
The guy's a total creep. Man.
Richard Essex will break down everything that happened in that courtroom coming up a little bit after 5 o'clock.
Not Richard Essex. Richard Essex is awesome.
Oh, yes.
Keegan Kline is...
Keegan Kline is disgusting.
He is the textbook stereotype of what people talk about when they say, in your mom and dad's basement on the computer, pervert type deal.
Right.
In your underwear. His picture's in the dictionary.
Yeah. And, man, long court day, but justice was served. And we will talk to Richard Essex about that. Tell me if this is something that people will jump on board with here, Nige. You seem like you've got a good grasp of Americana here. Yeah. Tell me if you think this is something people will gravitate towards. Subway, the sandwich company, has announced they're going to be holding a nationwide contest and choosing one lucky winner for a lifetime of free Subway sandwiches.
Yeah.
All they have to do is legally change their name to Subway.
That's just so stupid. And somebody's going to do it. I don't like Subway enough to change my name. Now, if
I
it
like
was,
Subway.
I do like Subway, but I don't like it enough to go through the hassle of changing my name and putting my name on documents and
Subway Laskowski.
If it was St. Elmo or if it was Ruth Chris that would give me free steaks for the rest of my life, hell yeah, Ruth Laskowski. Elmo Laskowski has a ring to it, but no, I ain't doing it for Subway.
Now, before everybody laughs at it, think about what's happening in this country right now. You got people lopping off cranks in this country.
Good Lord.
You've got dudes lopping off cranks and saying their name is Debbie. You don't think for 1 minute somebody isn't just going to legally change their name to Subway to get free meatball subs for the rest of their life?
I'm sure there's plenty of people that stand in line to do that.
That new Subway series that they have of these sandwiches, man. The Philly cheesesteak one is good. They've got a revised meatball one. I am down for this. If I wasn't somebody that had anything going on, I'd change my name to Subway.
You don't have a lot going on. Anyway, maybe you should just do it. Hey, can we do this Facebook story real quick before we get out of here?
Yeah.
I thought this was fascinating. Here, the study says Facebook doesn't change people's political beliefs. Now, think about what I'm saying here. This recently published academic paper looked at Facebook during the 2020 presidential election, and it said that the platform's algorithm was extremely influential in what users saw and how long they stayed on the app.
And what they didn't see.
Oh, exactly. But, it's a big but, it wasn't really making people change their minds. Quote, changing the algorithm for even a few months isn't likely to change people's political attitudes. Wait a minute. I saw this study and I was like, wait a minute. I was told by Hillary Clinton and the Democrats that fake Russian Facebook ads were the reason that she lost the election to Donald Trump in 2016. Weren't we told that?
Hakeem Jeffries, election denier, the minority leader in the House, still feels that way.
And this study comes out and says, they weren't really a big deal. People didn't change their minds at all. Changing the algorithm for even a few months is, quote, not likely to change people's political attitudes. I thought that whole idea was so dumb to begin with anyway.
When reached for comment, Mark Zuckerberg said, but we're still going to censor the hell out of things.
It's crazy to think that those social media platforms, along with big tech, along with the press, I really don't think there's enough evidence to overturn an election in 2020, but there is definitely collusion between the big three, the Democrats, mainstream media press outlets, and big tech like Google, Facebook, and Twitter, for sure.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Dreaming about the freedom of the open road? Your local Tire Barn warehouse is now a full-service location, offering high-quality Valvoline oil changes. Your vehicle will be ready for any adventure, whether it's a road trip or a day at the beach. All Valvoline oil changes include a free courtesy inspection of your vehicle's fluid levels, battery, brakes, steering and suspension, tire tread depth, and pressure. Tire Barn is now offering appointment-free Valvoline oil changes. Whatever your dreams are this summer, Tire Barn Warehouse is here to drive them. See store for details. Some restrictions apply.
This summer of fun is brought to you by Citizens Energy Group, reminding listeners to water their lawn only twice a week. Get more info at citizensenergygroup.com/waterwise. That's citizensenergygroup.com/waterwise.
Summer's in Indy, and since 2001, Rhino Shield has been covering Indiana homes and businesses. Just ask Mike.
I was watching TV one night and saw the Rhino Shield ad, and I thought, well, if they can do a house, they can probably do a building.
And Rhino Shield's not paint, it's better.
So they came out and they gave me a price, showed me how the Rhino works, how it lasts, and how the guarantee works.
Business owners, you too can get the 25-year protection of Rhino Shield right now for 10% off the regular price.
They started on the building. They waited for us to leave, and they worked Saturday and Sunday so they wouldn't affect our business at all. This was the great part of it. I came back Sunday night, and you couldn't even tell they were here. There was no paint on the ground. They did a fantastic job.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Hey, don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
I cannot tell you how much I love the new coating on my garage floor that Galaxy Concrete Coatings installed. It only took them a day, and now my garage floor looks flawless. It's 4 times as strong, and they don't use epoxy. That's what all my neighbors have been asking me. Is that epoxy? No. That's what the other guys use. That's the old standard. This is better. It's polyurea. I'm talking about the new premium standard for garage floor coatings or anywhere else, your basement, your pool deck, or any kind of indoor or outdoor area. GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com or give them a call, 751-9070.
That kitchen or bath remodel you've been ready to start? With inflation rising, waiting is just going to make it more expensive. Start that remodel today. Hey, it's Tony Katz for Booher Remodeling. BOOHER. BooherRemodeling.com. Get on the schedule now to avoid some of those price increases. Booher Remodeling is the finest remodeler in Central Indiana with the best materials and most skilled craftsmen. They'll guide you through the entire process to make your vision come to life. Go to BooherRemodeling.com to set up your free consultation. BooherRemodeling.com.
Hey, JMV here with Lance Smith, owner of LD Smith Plumbing. And Lance, what's that on your shirt?
Well, I just helped pull out 50 feet of old sewer line and installed a new water heater. Oh, and I just ate some chocolate pudding, too.
So that could be mud, chocolate, or...
I guess so.
Oh, no, Lance. We're out of here. Let Lance and his heroes handle all of your plumbing problems. They're truly dirty, stinking honest. LDSmithPlumbing.com today.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Coming up in 2 minutes, it's hot today. The air quality is also bad. An arrest made in a cold case, and a patient returns to the hospital that saved his life 20 years ago. All that and more after Fox News Radio from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You were listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 5 o'clock.
They'll be in the same place at the same time. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Most of the Republican presidential hopefuls, including former President Trump, plan to attend an annual event tonight in Iowa, though one of Trump's most vocal critics, Chris Christie, won't be there. The former New Jersey governor is out fundraising instead, telling Fox News.
I'm sure we'll get to Iowa at some point, but being one of 14 people tonight speaking for 10 minutes versus making sure that we have the resources we need to be able to win the Republican nomination, I made the choice to do that here on the East Coast.
Trump defending himself on social media again earlier today after an updated indictment added more charges in a classified documents case. The White House declining to comment on the new Trump charges or a possible impeachment inquiry against President Biden related to his son's business dealings. The president himself made a passing reference to impeachment while touting his economic agenda in Maine.
Earlier this week, the Washington Post suggested Republicans may have to find something else to criticize me for. Now that inflation is coming down, maybe they'll decide to impeach me because it's coming down. I don't know. I love that one.
For now, lawmakers are heading home for the traditional August recess. The Alabama woman who admits faking her own kidnapping is now charged with 2 misdemeanor counts of false reporting. And Hoover, Alabama Police Chief Nick Durzis hopes the case will lead to changes in state law. He plans to contact legislators.
And asking them to look at this law applied to these facts and urge them to add an enhancement to current legislation when somebody falsely reports kidnapping or another violent crime.
25-year-old Carly Russell had claimed she was abducted after stopping to check on a toddler walking along a highway. Her attorney said later there was no toddler or any abduction. Russell is free on bond. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Hot temps and bad air. Sunny and 88 downtown, but it feels like 103. Your radar's clear. There could be some storms tonight. Low temps drop to the mid-70s later. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:02. Along with the heat, the air quality today is not good. Ryan Hedrick reports.
The Canadian wildfires are playing a role in the poor air quality you're breathing in.
It's creating some minimized ozone levels, and we probably won't see complete improvement in that until we get into the weekend.
Mike Ryan of the National Weather Service says we're not seeing a lot of wind except for the winds being produced by thunderstorms. As a result, the air is stagnant. I'm Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The heat advisory for most of Indiana ends at midnight. The Charlestown Police Department released information today about a cold case arrest they made last week. They believe 52-year-old David Hollowell raped a 13-year-old girl on April 14th, 2003, and then shot her stepfather. His stepfather survived, but has traumatic brain injuries. Police arrested Hollowell last Thursday and took him to the Clark County Jail. He's charged with attempted murder, rape, child molesting, and burglary. Indiana's housing laws are outdated, says State Attorney General Todd Rokita. He says more out-of-state apartment management companies are taking advantage of Hoosiers.
We're seeing an increase, certainly in the capital city, but perhaps elsewhere as well, of landlords, and in a lot of cases out-of-state landlords, who think they can just step on the little guy.
Rokita tells Wish TV his office will push for housing law changes in the state legislature. David Peck was 2 years old when doctors at Indiana University Health performed transplant surgery on him. Today, he returned there as the first ever Hoosier to receive an intestine transplant.
David is one of our greatest success stories. You know, he originally presented to St. Vincent's Hospital and went straight to the operating room and had to have his intestine removed. Our intestine program was just in the process of achieving approval.
Dr. Jonathan Friedel was part of the team that worked on Peck. IU Health has now performed 300 intestine transplants since 2003. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 5:04.
Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. Income may be subject to state, local, or federal alternative minimum tax.
The stock market dropped by over.
The Federal Reserve raised interest rates. Let's face it, investing can feel pretty scary and overwhelming these days, especially if you're retired or close to retirement, which is why you should consider investing in municipal bonds from Hennian & Walsh. Municipal bonds can provide a source of federally tax-free retirement income. Plus, an investment in municipal bonds is an investment in America. Municipal bonds help finance major civil projects across the country, like the Golden Gate Bridge and Hoover Dam, as well as local roads, bridges, and schools. Call 1-800-761-9761 right now for our informative free bond guide and learn how you can earn tax-free retirement income while investing in America's future. Just dial 1-800-761-9761 for the free Hennian & Walsh Bond Guide. There's no cost and no obligation. 1-800-761-9761.
Hennian & Walsh Inc., member of FINRA and SIPC.
With traffic on the 5s at 5:05, how are the roads, Matt Bear?
Bad on the northwest side, Harrison. Tough situation on southbound 465 right now with two crashes about a mile apart. The first one you'll encounter in the southbound lanes is going to be at 79th Street, blocking 3 right lanes. After that, you were still stopped because the second crash is also blocking 3 right lanes. Traffic backed up from 71st Street all the way back to 86th Street, almost to that exit, is that delay on the northwest side. Now on the south side, a stall is blocking the left lane on eastbound 465. Worst place to do it after Kentucky Avenue. Left lane block, traffic backed up to Kentucky Avenue. Traffic sponsored by LASIK Vision Institute. At the LASIK Vision Institute, get 20% off LASIK when treated in August. That can be over $900 off when treating both eyes, plus guaranteed financing. Visit GetLVILASIK.com for details. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Today will likely be our hottest and humidest day of the year. As we move on into the evening hours, we could even see a few storms form in the forecast, likely to be severe in the northern half of the state. Be cautious as you move into tonight. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Drew Narsutis for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos? So let's rock it!
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there with a very special guest on the DriveHubler.com hotline.
Richard Essex, Wish TV 8 investigative reporter, one of the best in the business. Richard, you were covering Keegan Kline in court yesterday for his sentencing for child pornography, possession, and all the things that go into it. We were talking about this story yesterday. Correct me if I'm wrong now. Court began at 9 a.m. yesterday. We didn't get the final sentence till around like 6 o'clock. What took so long?
Well, it was closer to 7 o'clock by the time the judge went through every single count and how much he was giving Keegan Kline time in prison for. It was 7:30 before we got out of there. if there's ever an argument for having cameras in the courtroom, this case was it. Now, that we had asked the judge if we could have cameras, but he denied because of some of the information from some of the victims. And I get that. But there was so much information that was delivered during the pre-sentencing investigation testimony and the prosecutor and the state police when they got up and testified that you just couldn't fit it into a 2 or 3 minute TV story. And throughout the entire thing, you got the impression that Kegan Kline has been a master manipulator of everybody he has come in contact with from probably his early teens. He dropped out of school, I think, when he was in 9th grade, and basically just sat at home in front of the computer and started soliciting these pictures before he was even of age. And that became a question yesterday. Were some of these pictures done before he was 18? So the guy's got a really long history of doing this. And the charges yesterday, the 25 charges that he is going to prison for 40 years on, were based upon 6 victims, where they were able to identify these people, go and find them, interview them, and find out exactly what happened. There were another 11 that they had found that were not part of the charges. And the question that we kept having with the prosecutor is, did he make physical contact with any of these people? Did he actually meet up with anybody? Because, of course, we wanted to know, were Abby and Libby some of the people that he actually made physical contact with?
Yeah, he spoke with the victims of the Delphi murders the day before they disappeared, and that's why we're really even talking about him right now.
Yeah, and he had used that Anthony Schatz catfishing or fake social media profile to impress girls, that he was this, suave, guy, had a bunch of money, and then he was also using these 3 other profiles called Emily Ann. He used different last names, and he would tell these awful stories to these girls, that he watched his family die in a fire, he was a heroin addict, and he was hoping that, he was going to overdose at any time, to gain sympathy. And he also used that very same profile to introduce some of his victims to him, his real profile. I mean, the web that he wove with these people, he would start a conversation with one person and then make contact with them 6 months later, a year later. He had this weave or this web that just expanded all over the country. And the people that he was in contact with, we're probably going to start hearing more and more of some of his victims that start coming out. But his reach was very broad and very widespread.
One of the things I saw on your story last night on Wish was one of his victims. He talked to her. She was 13 years old. Talked her into sending him nude pictures of her. She was in a bathroom in a hospital because her grandma was sick.
Yeah,
in this case,
he had that girl terrified, and that she needed to do this, or he was going to expose the pictures. And this girl thought that it was a real person until investigators made contact with her, and then she realized that she was being groomed by Kegan Kline.
Richard, at one point, Kegan Kline spoke, and he hasn't been doing a lot of public speaking throughout this whole ordeal, but he spoke yesterday. What did he have to say?
Well, he started out crying, and it kind of took everybody by surprise. He started speaking and he started crying, and he was apologizing to his family, who he had thrown under the bus. He'd blamed them for everything, and his victims. That he's sorry that he did the things that he did, and that he did it because of the attention. And the more he kept talking, the more you realize this guy's trying to manipulate the court.
Yeah.
He's trying to manipulate us. He's trying to manipulate the judge and everybody in the courtroom. And
you know how I know that, too, is because I saw the moment he came down the stairs after court had adjourned and he flipped off the camera. in defiance.
The old one-finger salute. Yeah, that was...
And so that to me says that all that BS you were talking about before, him crying and apologizing, was all just a bunch of crap.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I was standing right there when he came down, and he gave everybody the one-finger salute, and I thought, everything you just said in court, you just dismissed it by that action. And, having not heard a thing from this guy for the past couple of months, he'd come in court, or we would see him on the video monitor, and he didn't say anything. But yesterday, during the state police, when the investigators were up there giving their testimony, they would say that he did something, some outrageous act, and he would lean over to his lawyers, and you couldn't hear what he was saying, but you could tell by the look on his face. He's like, "They're lying. They're lying. It wasn't this. It was that." And you saw that throughout the entire proceeding yesterday. He would go over to his lawyers and trying to manipulate them, and hey, that guy's lying. It wasn't that. It was somebody else.
I'm assuming. I mean, there was tons of testimony from victims yesterday. I'm assuming. Did anybody get up and speak in his defense or anything like that? No family members or anything?
No, his lawyers didn't call a single witness to testify for him, and he had been really taken care of by his father. His dad had just, from what we've heard, just really coddled him, gave him money, and just let him do pretty much whatever he wanted. And then as this investigation started going forward, he started blaming his dad, who he said, well, it was my dad's phone, it was my dad's tablet, it was his account, and trying to deflect everything to somebody else. It wasn't him. So no, the family has, any of his friends they're gone.
And on the flip side of that, were there any family members of the victims that spoke to you afterwards, or maybe said something during this hearing? No,
there were some victims' family members there, but they didn't make themselves available, and they kind of sat there very quietly. And we've seen them in the courtroom in the past couple of hearings, and they have not said anything.
And you mentioned before, Keegan Kline did not have any physical contact with any of his victims. Do we know that for sure?
That's what the prosecutor said. They don't have any evidence to suggest that he had any kind of physical contact with any of the people that he made that he tried to contact. One of the questions I had for the prosecutor, Keegan Kline was taken out of the Miami County Jail last year and questioned by state police. And then there was like a 4-week search of the Wabash River.
Yeah.
And, of course, state police have never said officially that it was connected to any case. There was a search going on. And you can do the simple math. There were 20 troopers out there, all in special gear, out there for 4 weeks. It was a couple $100,000 to search that river. They found, they won't say what they have found, but they're not saying it was connected to this case or to Delphi. So, did he lie to state police again? Did he lie to prosecutors again? It's probably my guess. He does a lot of these things for the attention. And he said that a couple of times, that he did all of this for the attention.
What's scary, we're speaking with Richard Essex, investigative reporter with Wish TV, covering the Keegan Kline case, sentenced to 40 years in prison. For every Keegan Kline that goes to jail, there's probably 1,000 more out there prowling, and it's really a terrifying thought. I got a 9-year-old girl, so I think about that stuff a lot.
Well, I'm in Henry County right now, and I was just talking to the sheriff a few minutes ago. We were talking about Keegan Kline, and we both said there's a Keegan Kline out there right now, sitting in mom and dad's basement or in some room, some dark room, doing exactly the same thing. And hopefully, police will catch him. And one of the things that I really came to light yesterday was how sophisticated the investigative tools that state police have to catch these guys. It's almost James Bond type stuff, where they're able to take a picture and use facial recognition software. That's how they were able to find some of these victims. And when these guys try to pass this child porn from place to place over the internet, they almost know, the service providers almost know exactly where it's coming from, because they've got those URL numbers already in the system. So when Klein was passing some of this stuff around, like into Dropbox or some of these other social media platforms, they knew exactly what it was. And I'm surprised they didn't catch the guy earlier, actually.
Richard Essex, Wish TV, now that this story has come to an end, the Kagan Klein saga, what are you working on now?
Well, I've got a story out here in Hendry County. It's absolutely phenomenal. This is one of those moments in my 20-some year career where I walk out of the interview and say, holy you-know-what, I can't believe this is happening here in Indiana. And it's on a scale of 1 to 10, we'll be able to put on about 4 tonight at 5 and 6. But I'll be back out here next week to finish up on the story. But it is unbelievable, and I can't say any more than that until it airs tonight at 5 and 6.
And that, my friend, is what we call a tease. Well done. Great job covering this story of this creeper, Kagan Klein, and we look forward to your work on Wish.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
Matt Baer has a look at the roads.
Northwest side crash in secondary. 2 of them southbound 465. First one's at 79th, blocking 3 right lanes. The second crash a mile after at 71st, blocking 3 right lanes. Traffic is stopped back to West 86th Street. Crash northeast side, eastbound 465 at Allisonville Road. Left lane is blocked. Traffic jam back to Westfield Boulevard. South side, a stall in the construction zone. Bad place to do it. Eastbound 465 after Man Road. Left lane blocked. Traffic stop 270. Traffic sponsored by LASIK Plus. LASIK Plus is the patient's choice for LASIK. Get 20% off LASIK when treated in August. That can be over $900 off when treating both eyes plus guaranteed financing. Visit mylasicoffer.com for details. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
89 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
Have you saved enough? Do you have a plan for Social Security and taxes in retirement? Hey, Casey Weed of Howard Bailey Financial, where our mission is to help you gain clarity and purpose and elevate meaning in your life through personal and practical financial strategies. That's why we want to give you our Retire with Purpose toolkit at no cost. In it, you'll find valuable information on minimizing taxes, maximizing Social Security, and building a retirement income you can't outlive. Plus, you'll receive a copy of my book, Job Optional. To get your complimentary toolkit, call or text the keyword INFO 42 to 866-482-9559. That's INFO 42 to 866-482-9559.
Howard Bailey Financial is the official wealth management partner of Notre Dame Athletics. Notre Dame Athletics was compensated for this endorsement and is not a current client of Howard Bailey. For more information, please visit howardbailey.com/ND disclosure. Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
You have a kid on the way and you need more room. Let's sell house. Okay. But the traditional home selling process, that's the opposite of okay. That's awful. Matt Baer here. Hey, when these life-changing events happen, they're blessings, but also scary and way overwhelming more than they should be. Open Door eliminates all of the hassles of the home selling process. No more showings, stagings, listings. Everything is done online. When I sold my house north of Kokomo, there were so many people involved. Someone always had to talk to someone, then someone else. It took forever. Open Door, you are in total control. Request an offer in minutes, receive an all-cash offer in days. You pick the closing day and sell on your schedule. There isn't always a perfect time to move, but Open Door can help anytime be a perfect time. Visit opendoor.com or download the Open Door app to get started. That's opendoor.com or download the Open Door app. Open Door is represented by Open Door Brokerage Incorporated, license 02061130 in California, and Open Door Brokerage LLC and its other markets. Terms and conditions apply.
Go with your gut. Your dog's immune system is based in the gut. A diet lacking in nutrients can cause itching, scratching, and a weak immune system. However, there is a solution. DINOVITE. Dinovite.
It took a grand total of 2 weeks. The dog stopped itching, the hair stopped falling out.
Try Dinovite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at dinovite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dinovite.
Hey, do you hear that? That's the sound of bad weather in Indy. And what used to worry me is kind of like music to my ears now, thanks to All-Star Roof, Siding, and more. It's Hammer and Nigel. And, living in the Midwest means dealing with unpredictable weather. But with All-Star Roof, Siding, and more, you get a one-day roof replacement, storm roof repairs. All-Star put new siding on my house that made it shine, and gutters that'll have you singing in the rain. I love the job All-Star did on my house.
The owner of the company, Tom Myers, he's the man that's going to guide you through the entire process. His company, All-Star, they don't just fix your roof. Tom Myers came out to my house, got up on the ladder. They were in, they were out. No time at all. And this is why they have an A+ rating. Call 317-522-6409 for fast, reliable service, or visit allstarroofingsiding.com. All-Star Roof Siding and more. Reliable roofs, real fast.
Hey, it's Jesse Kelly. When a restaurant closes, my reaction is, that sucks. They had good steak. When regional banks close, or 3 of them close overnight, it freaks me out. This is why I have my own personal gold reserve. It's part of my personal protection plan. Call my friends at Oxford Gold Group. Call 833-404-GOLD. 833-404-GOLD. That's 833-404-GOLD.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's lab-grown or mined diamond store.
Nigel. Hammer's over here. In just a few minutes, we'll be hooking up with Emma Jo Morris, politics editor over at Breitbart. She testified in front of the House Weaponization Committee on Thursday.
Laughed right in their faces.
They really did. This one had to do with censorship, quote-unquote conspiracy with big tech and government, and how they were actually, it showed to squash the Hunter Biden laptop story, which she broke. And we'll hear a lot of details from her. That's coming up next. And what are we doing now? This is not one of my favorite segments, I don't think.
Well, we spoke with the consultant, and the consultant said we need to get some younger listeners to the Hammer and Nigel show. So that's why, in lieu of what's going on in Indiana right now, and really across the country, we have a special heat wave edition of Fun Facts for Kids.
It's time for Hammer and Nigel's Fun Facts for Kids.
These are little nuggets of true information designed for the younger listeners of the Hammer and Nigel show.
Okay.
And today it's all about heat and fire and summertime and more because it's so hot outside. Heat waves kill more people than other natural disasters like flooding, lightning, tornadoes, and hurricanes. Young children and adults over the age of 65 are the most likely to die in the heat. So remember, kids, if you invite your grandparents to watch your Little League game in the heat, you could both die.
Fun Facts for Kids.
What's the matter with you? This is not...
In only 3.5 minutes... The heat from a house fire can reach over 1,100 degrees Fahrenheit, meaning the same time it takes for you to heat up a big plate of pizza rolls in the microwave, your house fire will cook and burn your corpse to a crisp.
Fun Facts for Kids.
This is supposed to attract a younger audience to the show. That's the point of this segment.
Hey, kids, have you ever wanted to be an astronaut? Did you know that the sun is so hot that even astronauts in spacesuits far, far away from the sun have to have bulletproof layers because the sun sends these tiny dust-sized particles that move at the speed of light. So you better hope and pray that your spacesuit works because these particles can penetrate the body of an astronaut and kill them like they are being shot and murdered by a powerful gun.
Fun Facts for Kids.
How is that a fun fact for kids?
More babies are born in the summertime than any other time. Guess what, kids? If you do the math, that means while you were planning on eating stuffing at your grandparents' house for Thanksgiving, your dad was stuffing your mom night while you were asleep.
Fun Facts for Kids.
Completely and totally inappropriate.
On the average, you secrete 26 gallons of sweat into your bed each year. So think of a gallon of milk. Now, imagine 26 of those bad boys lined up and loaded with your sweat and dumped onto your precious little race car bed while you put your stupid little face in it.
Fun facts for kids.
Why does it have to be a stupid little face?
Looking to take a cool dip in a lake to beat this sweltering summer heat?
I did last week. I was at Grandview Lake, sure.
Did you know there are brain-eating amoeba that live in lakes and rivers, mainly in the southern United States, but these amoeba can enter your body and chew your brain and could cripple or kill you in a very slow and painful way.
Fun facts for kids.
I'm speechless at this point.
If the sun exploded, you wouldn't know about it for 8 minutes later. So technically, we all could be dead by the end of this segment.
Fun facts for kids.
According to research from the University of Washington, more parents divorce in the months of March and August than any other month. And we're just a few days away from August. So, if you want mom and dad to stay together, maybe you behave, do your homework, and shut up so it's not all your fault.
Fun facts for kids.
Can we end this particular segment? It's not one of my favorites. It's
Beer Sample Friday on the way.
Always awkward. It's just
Emma Jo Morris coming up next. And coming up next, Harrison Silcox has a look at the news.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Not done with the heat yet. 89 degrees, mostly sunny downtown. It feels like 102. You've got a clear radar low of 74 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:29. It's another hot day in Indiana, and it's humid.
Now, the humidity levels might actually be worsened by the storms coming through. While we may not get quite as hot, and by that I mean maybe instead of mid-90s, we're a couple of degrees cooler than that, the humidity is still going to be quite high.
Mike Ryan with the National Weather Service says humidity went up because of the rain this morning. Heat indices were once again at the triple digits today. The heat advisory for most of the state ends at midnight. You're probably cranking up the AC, and so are millions of other Americans. That could be a problem for several power grids.
Today will likely be our hottest and humidest day of the year. As we move on into the evening hours, we could even see a few storms form in the
Over 180 million Americans are under some sort of heat advisory. An Indiana State trooper was arrested for operating a vehicle while intoxicated Thursday. Trooper Zachary Smith from Floyd County was seen by police pulling into his driveway. Officers say Smith showed signs of impairment when they spoke with him, and he was arrested. Smith, who's been a state trooper for 12 years, is on administrative leave. President Joe Biden was in a Republican district in Maine today, saying inflation is now at the lowest point it's been in 2 years.
Wages are growing faster than inflation. That means an awful lot to working people where I come from. They have more money in their pockets than they did before.
Biden says there's still more work to do in improving the economy. If you decide to go to the Indiana State Fair this year, you can check out the Makers Mart. Cindy Essex says the goal of it is to give artists in Indiana and small business owners a chance to sell some of their work.
We've got sculptures, we've got head wraps, we've got sublimation, we've got watercolor, we have acrylics.
She says you can also find quilts, masks, and much more. Coming to Indianapolis next year is country music artist Tim McGraw. He'll be at Cambridge Fieldhouse April 18th, and Grammy Award-winning singer Carly Pearce will join him. Tickets go on sale next Friday. With traffic at 5:31, here's Matt Baer.
Harrison, we're getting roughed up. No, southbound 465 stop traffic right now after 79th Street down to 71st. It's because of a crash. 3 right lanes are blocked. And then on the northeast side, eastbound 465, that's a crash between Allisonville Road and 69, blocking the left lane, stopping traffic back to Westfield Boulevard. Just hit the brakes on eastbound 72 down, stop and go from Tibbs past Harding Street, and then on the south side, the stall cleared, still stopped on eastbound 465 from I-70 past Man Road. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's Design Centers at 146th Street and River Road or on North Shadeland. Online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Today will likely be our hottest and humidest day of the year. As we move on into the evening hours, we could even see a few storms form in the forecast, likely to be severe in the northern half of the state. Be cautious as you move into tonight. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Drew Narsutis for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox on The Level on the Go and on WIBC.com.
It's the Hammer and Nigel show. My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there. We'll go straight to the drivehubler.com hotline and bring out one of our favorites, Breitbart political editor Emma Jo Morris. She was calling out big tech's, quote, elaborate censorship conspiracy from her reporting on the Hunter Biden laptop from hell during testimony before the House Weaponization Committee last week. What a ride, Emma. Great appearance before that committee. How are you?
I'm good. I mean, yeah, you have no idea. That line made its rounds. People liked elaborate censorship conspiracy, but like, was it not?
Let me just play my favorite moment, and then we could get into a little bit more from your testimony and who else was there. And my favorite moment was when you started busted out laughing, kind of at the absurdity.
The people love that.
Let me just play that moment again here.
On October 19th, 5 days after the Post began publishing, Politico ran a story headlined, Hunter Biden's story is Russian disinfo, dozens of former intel officials say. God, I can't even say that with a straight face, you know? Politico printed a letter completely uncritically from veteran members of the U.S. intelligence community falsely claiming that the Post expose has, quote, all the classic earmarks of a Russian information operation. My God.
What an incredible moment.
Oh my God.
Just kind of tell us your overall thoughts of that hearing on Thursday and what went down.
Yeah, well, so that moment was obviously not planned. I always dunk on Politico and Natasha Bertrand in real life. Yeah. Like, if this ever comes up, you know, like, I will just be ruthless. And that accidentally happened in Congress.
Accidentally, sure.
I came in there with the best of intentions, and I just couldn't hold it together because to me, it's literally beyond parody. I just can't. Like, I can't play along with this whole thing, this bit that we're all supposed to do in New York and Washington, where we take these absurd people seriously. They're clowns, and I just kind of broke character, I guess.
And there were some pretty big named heavy hitters that signed that document that said you're reporting and that the laptop was Russian disinfo.
Quote unquote alleged. I think it's Russian disinformation to call these people heavy hitters. These are bureaucrat spooks who have these really these suits filled with air, and they're not serious people. They're obviously not serious people. They say stupid things to an obedient press that will publish those claims uncritically, and I'm supposed to think that that's impressive?
So when you finished basically laughing into their faces, take us through what happens after that, because we can only see, what's being recorded and when the cameras are on. When you're done and you're walking out or you're leaving the hearing.
There was a break in between, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Are people giving you the side eye? Are people giving you crap? How did it go?
To be honest, I wasn't chilling with them. During the break, if you really want the inside story, I went to go find something to eat and then came back. I don't love Washington, as I'm sure you could imagine. I don't love socializing in that town. I much prefer New York or literally anywhere. If you want to know what I really prefer, it's going out. When Breitbart sends me out on the road to talk to our readers and I'm in Ohio or I'm in Texas or I'm literally anywhere else, South Carolina, those are the people who I like to spend time and talk with. But when I'm in D.C., I'm all business. I'm kind of okay, where's the coffee machine? Yeah. And can I get a cup of fruit or something before I have to go deal with Dan Goldman?
Yeah, that was my next question. Okay, so you and some other people, including RFK Jr., you were sitting next to RFK Jr., which I thought we could talk about that in a minute. I thought he was a kind of a huge distraction, and the Democrats used him as a distraction. But yeah, the congressman out of New York, Goldman, I think was his name, tried to go after you a little bit.
Oh, Al Bundy giving you crap.
Yeah, it does look like Al Bundy.
Oh, totally. That was nuts. That was a conspiracy. Like,
what was he saying?
I'm looking at this guy here. I'll give you, like, we're chilling, you know. I'll give you what's up. I'm looking at this guy, and he obviously is trying to paint me into a corner. And, you know, I'm sure your listeners kind of know me by now. Like, typically I would like kind of scrap with him, except that in this setting, he controls the time.
Yeah.
So as much as I engage with him, he can control how much time I have to speak and cut me off at any time he wants. So it's not a fair fight because I don't get to finish a sentence. So I was looking at him and kind of thinking, all right, I know the road he's going down, and I thought that he would do that. I even thought of the article he was going to reference and knew he was going to reference it because he's so banal and so predictable. And in the moment, though, I thought to myself, you know what? If I give him anything here, it's just going to be used as rope. So sure. I'm going to go with the yes or no question route and let him go down whatever road he wants, which is obviously dumb. And the road that he did go on, which was the Russian disinformation road, which is absurd. He goes, did you have the physical laptop or a hard drive? And, you know, obviously I had a hard drive because the FBI has a physical laptop. So I answer. And then he's like, wasn't Rudy like talking to Russians? And I'm like, I guess. And, you know,
so he's questioning your...
kind of imply that I had a tampered hard drive. But the thing that was so stupid, which I would have said if I would have had the stage and control over my own, you know, ability to speak, was we didn't do the route of a forensic audit of this hard drive. I reported on like 6 emails, and the whole contact list was on the laptop. So we just called the recipients, including Hunter Biden, by the way, of all of these emails that we were reporting on, and just said, hey, listen, Tony Bobulinski, you're on this email. Does this sound familiar to you? I'm going to read you something. And that was how we did it, including to Hunter Biden. And when we called Hunter's lawyer, he just gave this kind of expletive-laden response about Rudy and did not deny a single thing.
Yeah, and by the way, what's it matter where you got the hard drive? The source is not the story here.
Well, exactly. And I wrote like a scathing kind of scorched earth thread on Twitter about that because I had some troll going there. And typically I don't really engage with trolls, and I actually don't have very many of them. But I took this one, the bait on this, and I answered because they were trying to do this Rudy thing. And I just am so sick of that critique because it comes from a place of such ignorance that it actually makes you sick. There's no rule in journalism that a source matters. There is. So, you know, I bring this example up all the time with the New York Times, where the New York Times got mailed Trump's tax returns from some anonymous source, and they did not know the identity of that source.
Yeah.
So you can't get any less credible than that when the journalist themselves and the editor themselves doesn't know who the source is, because you can't even begin to speculate on motive. It could be from Satan himself.
Right.
So, but it's fine. That's fine.
Well, it was the laptop. It's called it was called the laptop from hell, to be fair.
Right.
So it could have been from Satan.
Yeah, but you know, all that matters when you're a journalist. What I mean to say is this information true? And is this information, like, you know, newsworthy and of public interest? If the answers to those questions are yes, and you have the full story, you know, obviously this is not talking about somebody giving you like one piece of information and the person's totally political. But I mean, if you're in my circumstance, let's say, where you have the whole hard drive and there's no room for somebody who is political or has a motive to manipulate the information, and you can verify that that information is true and of public interest, the source there's no relevance. It
right.
doesn't matter. And I published who the source was, which I did not have to do.
Emma Jo Morris of Breitbart with us here on the Hammer and Nigel show. So, $1 million question here. Do you think anything will happen as a result of that hearing, your testimony? What's going to happen next, if anything?
So, honestly, like, you know, if the testimony is used to inform legislation, which I hope that it will be, I hope that I had a line in there that said hundreds of members of the intelligence community are still working at social media. I hope Congress heard that line, because that is critical. That means that this can just go on and the apple cart still rolls. And, if there is will and effort by Congress to really try to do some reforms, I think that some reforms can be accomplished. But honestly, it's going to be kind of tinkering with it in something that needs to be like totally overhauled. I think what it's going to take is a president with the political will to go into the intelligence community and go into these offices and say, like, we're burning this place down, and we need to figure out who in here is ethical, who in here is unethical, and get the unethical people out now. Because this is obviously unethical. It's possible, and I think it's true, actually, that there were no laws technically broken here, although there's a federal judge apparently that believes otherwise. But, I could see how they can justify it legally. And so if they're doing that, we need to restaff these places with people who understand that you can not only not violate the First Amendment, you also can't totally violate the spirit of the First Amendment, which this obviously did, and that's why they didn't come out and say it.
One more thing before we let you go here. Got about 90 seconds. Big week for the Biden crime family, and especially Hunter Biden and pleading not guilty. The judge thought the whole plea deal was BS. Sounds like the DOJ and Hunter's lawyers were kind of in cahoots on some level. Just your overall big picture of what happened this week with that plea deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. That's exactly right. So, the judge, looks at the plea deal and is like, wait a second, this doesn't make any sense. And that's it. It's it gives the impression that the DOJ and the Biden team were kind of, I don't know if they were working together. I can't make that claim with any certainty, and I don't want to speculate. But let's say it was a very favorable deal for Hunter that no other person on earth would get.
And the future immunity.
Oh yeah, 100%. No, it was totally absurd. But here's the thing: this thing is going on in D.C. That's Hunter's home turf, and not only is it Hunter's home turf, but that place is the most incestuous situation you could ever imagine. Everybody is friends. Everybody goes to the same cocktail parties, and we're all one big happy weird family. And that's what you get in D.C. I mean, I don't understand how they're trying him there. It's obviously that itself is a conflict of interest. His father is the president.
Unbelievable. Really good stuff. Breitbart political editor Emma Jo Morris. Have a great weekend, and we'd love to have you back as soon as possible.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
It's been a week, man.
Oh, yeah. It's been fun.
Ready to make it a little more fun? Ready to crack open a cold one?
I got the beer for us.
Let's do it.
Beer this time. Beer Sample Friday next.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-339-3838. 800-339-3838. That's 800-339-3838.
Do you need air conditioning service and are looking for a local dealer you can trust, like Marshall Mechanical in Franklin? Find that American Standard air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
Gilbert worked in retail and restaurant management for 14 years. It was time for a change.
I recognized where I was at was vulnerable to the whims of the economy.
Then he heard about My Computer Career. Gilbert went for it.
In as little as 7 months, I got all of my certifications at a fraction of a cost for college.
He became an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
I can work from anywhere. I have more time for my family as well.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Hi, this is Denny Smith, and summertime's a great time to upgrade your water equipment, and C&J Water has some great upgrade specials right now. Upgrade to a twin tank softener and get a free reverse osmosis drinking water unit. Right now, you can also save 15% on any water quality equipment at C&J, ultraviolet systems, iron and sediment systems, single tank softeners, and reverse osmosis units. Such a deal. C&J really does install the best of the best. So call C&J for yours today. Call 317-733-SOFT or cnjwater.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-646-7049 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-646-7049. That's 800-646-7049. What do you have to lose? Call 800-646-7049. Again, 800-646-7049.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Were you hurt in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident? The insurance companies don't have the advantage of video proof that the Hammer may have. Call today or visit roadproof.wewin.com.
Pierce Jewelers wants you to know the diamond world has changed. You can choose mined or lab-grown diamonds. Unlike chain stores, Pierce Jewelers carries both. They can educate and help you save your hard-earned money.
I'd rather be folding laundry.
This is gonna be fun.
Said no one ever. Also, no one enjoys wasting time in traffic. That's why we love saving you time. Matt Bear Traffic.
Backups are already starting.
On 93 WIBC.
Matt Bear has a look at the roads.
Yes, Sam, we're looking at southbound 465 on the northwest side. Stop to traffic from 86th Street down to 71st. It's because of a crash blocking 3 right lanes. Crash cleared northeast side, eastbound 465 at Allisonville Road. Slowed to the White River, then still stop to stop and go back to Westfield Boulevard. Inbound 69, stop and go traffic from 96th Street down to 82nd. There's a crash. It's Penn Pike north of 52nd. And eastbound 70 now, a crash at... That's going to be Belmont with a left lane blocked right now. Traffic stop back to Tibbs. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel Design Centers at 146th Street and River Road or on North Shadeland online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
89 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
Right now,
Hammer and Nigel present Beer Sample
Fry.
I got some beers. Let's drink them, huh?
Beers on sale, people. Come down, get you some.
Yeah, more legal trouble for Donald Trump. We'll get to that after 6 o'clock. Right now, let's drink some beer. Brought to you by our friends Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Hammer. This kind of has to do, this one has a theme. Sometimes we drink beers that have themes. Sometimes brewers bring us their beers. Sometimes bars bring us their beers. Sometimes you just drink random beers, sample them live on the air. So go ahead and take a look at that one we're going to sample.
All right, let me see. I know what you're going for.
The connection there at all?
Indiana City Brewing Company Kickoff. Peach Blueberry Hazy Pale Ale, and it's called Kickoff, and there's a picture of what appears to be a blue colt-like horse on the can in honor of training camp kicking off.
That's right. Exactly. Colts training camp. Some controversy happening with Colts training camp, right?
So we got a little feud going on with Jim Irsay and what some would say is the best offensive player on the roster, Jonathan Taylor.
Right.
So
a Twitter war between Jonathan Taylor's agent and Jim Irsay, so to speak. Right?
So cheers, and cheers, I'm just here for it, man. I'm glad football's right around the corner.
Delicious. Peach Blueberry Hazy Pale Ale from Indiana City Brewing. That was delicious.
Great way to kick off the weekend here on the Hammer and Nigel Show.
We buy any car.
Selling your car by yourself can lead to some strange encounters.
So how many bodies does this car hold?
Bodies? It's a 5-passenger car.
Right. Passengers.
Don't deal with selling it yourself. Come to WeBuyAnyCar.com instead. It's easy. You get in, get out, and get paid at a fair price.
I sell mannequins. Oh, what'd you think? Nothing. Nothing at all.
Get your free online valuation now at
WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Mark Diedel's the only real estate agent I'd trust to sell my house and find me a new one. How about Ben in Indianapolis? He needed to upgrade into a bigger place, so selling his old place at top dollar was a priority. Heard about Mark Diedel on our show, and the team was amazing. They got a great cash offer before even going on the market that included closing costs and no appraisal.
What I love about Mark Diedel is the guarantee. Mark Diedel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. That is the Mark Diedel guarantee. That's what makes him the best in the business. Call right now. Let Mark Diedel answer all the questions you have. 317-755-4232. That's 755-4232. Or go online to markdiedel.com. That's Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdiedel.com. Tell him Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Michaelis is the calm after the storm. More than 3 decades of restoring damage from wind, rain, and hail. They've got your back, not to mention your front, side, and roof. From site security and tarping services to complete restoration work, they can handle anything Mother Nature throws your way. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Okay, next time you're at the store, I dare you to not think about the unmistakable fresh, clean scent of Irish Spring. Yeah, you heard me. I want you to resist picturing a shower filled with those sensational Irish Spring suds. And if you succeed, well, you got what my gramps used to call resolutitude. Not a real word, but let's be honest, you're probably going to end up leaving with Irish Spring because of its irresistible scent and because you have zero resolutitude. Pick up Irish Spring at Walmart today.
I don't always black out when I'm drunk.
My kids can't tell that I'm high, so it's okay.
I'm not an alcoholic. I don't drink in the morning.
I still have a job, so my drug use isn't a problem.
I can stop using whenever I want.
Don't ignore the signs of addiction. You don't have to wait until it's too late to get help. At Landmark Recovery, we're here to provide affordable and effective addiction treatment. Call 866-LANDMARK or visit landmarkrecovery.com to get help today.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text STREAK to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text STREAK to 321-321. That's STREAK to 321-321.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
Pigs do fly at the Indiana Pork Tents at the Indiana State Fair. Stop by any of the tent locations during the Indiana State Fair, July 28th through August 20th, to try this year's